Monday, the 16th day of January 2023. It's my hope that you had a great weekend. Welcome on board. My name is Linda Alela. As they would always say, we like saying welcome on board because we value that you are part of us and it's good that you interact with us. The hashtag is Morning Cafe at Linda_Alela TV47KA. We're looking at what is happening in the country, what has played out for the better part of the weekend from Friday and walking into Monday. Has been a lot of activities, especially with the president traversing different parts of the country. And these parts are considered a little bit special because they've been a home turf for his main contender during the presidential election. That is, of course, 9th of August 2022. And none other than Right Honorable Raila Odinga, President President William Ruto managed to traverse these different parts of Nyanza region. And of course, it appears like it's that moment of peace because he was well welcomed alongside his team, of course, that tagging along the deputy president. And we ask ourselves, have we gotten to that space where indeed Kenyans accept that it's time to move on and it's time for us to think development, to think economy, as opposed to being in that moment of elections or in that moment of politics? We'll definitely be discussing this as we also ask ourselves, is that moment for a constitutional change? Or what it is that they would call the constitutional moment, indeed a conversation that we need to have, as we've heard different leaders trying to, agree to what it is that the president says in relation to some of the adjustments that need to be done to the constitution, as we have seen the Azimio side sort of in agreement as well as this side of Kenya Kwanza. And therefore we just ask ourselves, what will it mean and what are the possibilities that indeed there's going to be this conversation? We'll be having Dr. Peter Mbai as well as constitutional lawyer Ndegwa Njiru and equally Professor Fred Ogola for this very important conversation, but that should be later. Allow us to first of all take a look at the papers, the Standard newspaper, the Daily Nation, as well as the People Daily, the papers that we have this morning, and we briefly look at some of the stories that have been captured on the front page. And then we'll shift gears to look at the stories that we have prepared right here. We shall kick out cartels in food chains soon. That is according to the president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. A story captured on page 6. This, as of course they reveal, or they try to just come up with ways of making sure that the sectors or the different sectors on, of course, the line of the food chain are looked into, as of course Gachagua takes up the coffee sector, the tea sector, in terms of making sure that the processes therein are streamlined and of course the cartels are rooted out. So we just seek to see how different they're going to handle this as Kenyans continue to hope that the farmer can be able to enjoy the best of their proceeds, but most importantly they can be able to provide and produce enough for the people of Kenya to have that surplus that can as well be exported out of the country. And of course junior secondary, the great divide. Questions continue to linger as to what plays out for our very own students, even as we await the placements today to be declared by the CS for Matters Education, and most importantly, the results that would be of the Grade C or KIPSEA, as you'd want to look at it. And of course, the head teachers are rushing to prepare facilities for the start of new term, but a visit to schools shows that public primary schools have no laboratories for new curriculum and other reporting inadequate number of teachers, while private schools are all set. This is captured on page 12 and page 13 of the Standard newspaper. We'll be looking at that as we continue with the broadcast. And of course, taking down media, not a smart idea. This also a conversation or an opinion that has been captured on the Standard newspaper. They say he may not admit it, but what he must have realized in those low moments in their estranged from State House is that those cast out of power need in their corner not just public spiritedness, or of course they also need independent and speedy courts, an active civil society, and a media that backs loudly and bites hard. A story captured on page 16, also in relation to what it is that the president says, that it's very, very important that as we report, then we try and create that balance. Remember, in his tour to these different parts of, Nyanza region, that is the home turf of the Right Honorable, he said that it would be important that Kenyans or the media does not, come out to spear that aspect of hate or to just cause some aspect of division based on how we report. Gachagua gaffes but puts Kingpin quest in jeopardy. A story captured on page 10. Of course, just who will take up the role of being the kingpin of the Mount Kenya region is one conversation that is on. This, as the DP, is out to make sure that he speaks volumes in terms of the interests of the Mount Kenya region, which appears as though he's trying to craft himself, or he's trying to just align himself to be considered the kingpin. Just how successful will he be, or who will take up the mantle from president or the former president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta? Equally, one conversation that is on. From school fees to taxes, you'll have to dig deeper into your pockets, and that is a story captured on page 7 in relation to the adjustments that we need to do, that is as to the economy. This is page 7 of the Daily Nation from the front page, and also a different one. Form 1 placement results to be known today. Yes, this will be following up. We'll have our reporters for Matters Education to update us on the same, and save us from land cartels. Victims plead with Ruto, and this is land fraud victims that claim that rogue police officers are working with fraudsters in Machakos and Nairobi counties to grab private land. And so with police involved, they say the cartel has become a powerful pseudo-government whose actions have become bolder recently, and now they're calling upon the government, and of course that is to make sure that they are looked, or their cases are looked into, so that they do not lose their lands to this cartel. You could go to jail for failing to install a solar. This is to the question of energy, and the draft energy solar water heating regulations 2022 developed by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority EPRA require all premises to have solar water heating systems. This is a story that has been captured on the back page. Just how possible and affordable is that? Equally a question of wait and see, and we'll be looking to see just how this will be embraced. The biggest story: police are investigating claims that Nelson Dereba Njeru hired gang to kill wife, and this is a question of murder plot. Bizarre tale: when Lucy Mohami landed at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi last November, she did not know that 2 men, ostensibly assigned by her husband to meet and drive her home, were in fact members of a killer squad that had been paid 1.5 million to eliminate her, until one of them jumped into the backseat and started strangling her. This is a story captured on page 2 and 3, and it's quite unfortunate as to the crimes of passion and how many people are going out there to just connive with gangs to get away the life of their very own loved ones. Just what is ailing the fabric of the home or the family is one conversation that we certainly need to hope, as many align these two cases of mental health. And away from it, we have the People Daily. See what the People Daily speaks of this morning. And yes, the People Daily: Ruto allies dilemma on law review. This is a story that is captured on the front page of the People Daily on this 16th day of January. That is the main story. And Ruto allies dilemma on law review. President has signaled he wants supreme law changed to create office of opposition leader and comply with the gender rule. But legal experts say he cannot initiate review, yet he has written to members of parliament to act. Just what options do they have? This is a story that is captured on page 4 of the People Daily, and we'll be looking to see just what plays out in this conversation of a constitution. This as Tanzania boxer Madonga Mtukazi works on Kenya's Wanyonyi, and one of the papers this morning asks, did bookies just give Madonga an easy victory? A story that has been captured on page 38, while he hit his chest saying that it's going to be a win for sure for him. Indeed, he did not come to play, and that win he managed to take. Away from it, Ndungu shakes up KRA board weeks after Muthaura's exit, a story that has been captured on the front page, expounded on page 15, and we have seen also the president just purging on some of these parastatals, rooting out those ones that sat in these boards during the time of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and perhaps incorporating new faces that are supposed to spearhead these very important entities. Board members whose term has been revoked: Charles Makori Omanga, Richard Upembe, Mukesha, Susan Mudhune, Leonard Idhau, and Francis Muthaura dropped as board chair in November. And board members who have been appointed by CS: Dasha Shah, Wilkista Simiyu, Fancy Tu, Michael Kamau Kamirum, Samir Ibrahim, Anthony Maura appointed board chair in November. This, of course, as captured on this conversation of KRA, and a couple of other parastatals that we are bound to see more of adjustments that will be reported as to making sure that then the Ruto government successfully attains some of the mandates that they intend to attain for the common mwananchi. Now, President William Ruto has urged all elected leaders to focus on implementing the pledges they have made to the electorate instead of wrangling over positions that stated, or he stated, that the people of Kenya voted for change and for the delivery of services, and it is their responsibility, or the responsibility of these leaders, to deliver on their promises. And as Mike Agungo now tells us, Ruto emphasized that the focus should be on serving the people and not on personal gain or political ambition.
Bometam Jambo.
President William Ruto defended his two-day tour of the Nyanza region, stating that the country can only be developed through uniform development. He emphasized that the opposition's role is to keep the government in check, as mandated by the Constitution.
Mimi nataka ieleweke Kenya ya kwamba wananchi wa Kenya kupitia demokrasia walienda kwa kura, wakapiga kura na wakatupatia kazi. Sisi tukapatiwa kazi ya kuendesha serikali. Wale ndugu zetu wengine wakapatiwa kazi ya kuendesha upinzani. Na hiyo kazi yote ni ili mwananchi wa Kenya aweze kupata huduma, aweze kushughulikiwa na mambo yake, na nitangaze ya kwamba hakuna mwananchi wa upinzani. Wananchi wote ni wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
Ruto emphasized that Kenyans voted in the last general election with the intention of receiving services from those they elected.
Sehemu moja ya Kenya haiwezi kwenda mbele wakati sehemu ingine ya Kenya iko nyuma. It is not possible to develop any part of Kenya in isolation of other regions of the Republic of Kenya.
Na tuko hapa na ni jukumu letu tuweke foundation, kwa sababu tumeona majaribio kwa demokrasia yanafanyika hata kwa zile nchi tulikuwa tunafikiri zimestahamili.
He defended his decision to task Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua with cracking down on cartels exploiting farmers, denying claims that the move was politically motivated.
Kwani huyu Deputy President akianguka mimi nitakuwa nasimama? Si huyu akianguka hata mimi nimeanguka? So na wale wanajaribu kupinga yeye asifanye hiyo kazi is because they know hawezi kuleta mchezo pale.
According to the president, Gachagua is committed to fighting against the fearless individuals exploiting farmers. Gachagua also expressed his readiness to fight against the cartels that have paralyzed farmers and denied them the profits from their hard work.
Hao watu wameumiza wakulima, tukianza kupambana na hao rais, ukisikia wanalia, wewe angalia pande ile ingine, wacha mimi ningangana na hii watu vile umeniambia kwa niaba ya wananchi.
Mike Kagwongo, TV 47.
And President William Ruto's two-day walking tour of the Nyanza region has been hailed as a success by his allies, while analysts term it as the perfect head start for the president to consolidate power and expand his support base. The president, who was received warmly by a section of Odinga's allies and supporters in his second Luo Nyanza tour, made promises to a region that has always felt marginalized and could finally pay off for him, as Apollo Kamau reports.
President William Ruto's two-day walking tour in the Luo Nyanza region gave him the perfect opportunity to bury the hatchet over the 2022 presidential election results, which opposition leader Raila Odinga's support base claims was stolen.
Sasa nyinyi watu ya Siaya mlitupimia kidogo. Hapo mbele mtatuangalia vizuri. Mtatuangalia. Wangapi wanasema mtatuangalia pale mbele? Na mimi nataka niwaambie watu wa Nyanza. Mimi najua hapa Siaya mlinipatia kura. Lakini kidogo, lakini si mbaya. Mimi nasema asante sana. Kwa ile kidogo mlinipatia, mimi nasema asante sana. Tunaelewana? Na msikie. Msingoje serikali nyingine. Hakuna serikali nyingine inakuja. Serikali ni hii. Na ni serikali ya Kenya. Na ni serikali yenu.
Ruto's tour premised on a number of development projects to a region that has always felt marginalized. So Fred and Four welcomed the president, with Siaya Governor James Orengo calling for a truce between the president and Odinga. A move analysts say will no doubt be welcomed by the president to keep a restless Odinga and his base quiet.
And I am happy that the president, you are here, because you have assured us that your government is kicking and working in Siaya and the entire Republic of Kenya, not because of 2027, but because that is the duty we were elected to perform. I also am gratified that the two levels of government, Your Excellency has assured us that we are going to work together in accordance with the Constitution.
The president's tour comes at a time when simmering tension between the Mount Kenya region and Western Kenya is rife in Kenya Kwanza, and is seen as a perfect opportunity for the president to consolidate power and expand his political base, with Odinga's 2027 candidacy highly unlikely.
After this visit, I highly suspect that the president is going to have a lot more laws in his government than he has so far. And then if you are going to give people what the people call development, it's going to be very easy for you to take the region, especially if Raila is not running in 2027.
The president is keeping a delicate balancing act to appease Mount Kenya and the Western Kenya region, which is why he wouldn't mind quoting Nyanza to cushion himself from a fallout, a huge political statement if he inherits Odinga's political base.
There are areas where you never got enough votes. You will want to bring the constituency together. And this is not different from what William Samuel Ruto is doing. He's reaching out to counties that never voted for him, so that he can communicate to them that I'm the kind of a person who values you, irregardless of where your vote went to.
Ruto's Nyanza tour, in which Odinga gave his allies a free hand to welcome him in his backyard and work with the government, came in the backdrop of Odinga's meeting with British High Commissioner to Kenya Jane Marriott, in which Marriott is said to have urged Odinga to accept the proposal of the powerful leader of opposition office being pushed by the president. Apul Kamau, TV47.
And plans to have police work hand in hand with members of the public in addressing security challenges in the country continue to gather momentum, with Nairobi City County Government in final stages of putting up a county policing authority to address security gaps. This even as security experts worry about the safety of those who will work with the police in proving or providing crucial information. Collins Usweti with that.
Earlier this week, President Ruto indicated that the government intends to initiate the County Policing Authority, a plan that will see police work in collaboration with the community in addressing security challenges, and one that will be actualized in all the 47 counties.
Tunataka kila mwananchi ajumuike na kujua mambo ya usalama katika kijiji yake, katika mahali anaishi, na ndio tumesema sasa tuta operationalize County Policing Authority.
In Nairobi County, Governor Johnson Sakaja says plans are in final stages in putting up the authority that has been touted as a game changer in addressing security challenges, with cases of insecurity on the rise in the capital according to recent reports. Nairobi residents will now play a leading role in identifying crime activities in their neighborhood and reporting the same to security apparatus.
So the only thing that will keep us a bit is that the assembly needs to send us a few names to sit in the authority. But within the next few, as soon as the assembly comes on board, we'll have the Nairobi policing authority.
Some security experts, however, are worried about the safety of those who will volunteer to work with the police, saying they may be targeted by criminals.
The criminal people who actually engage into this kind of activities, they are always on the lookout to see whether someone is actually going to report them to police. Cases, we have seen cases on several areas whereby you find some people, criminal, coming and they are telling the person, if you try to report me to the police station, and then I will do this to you. Those are threats that can make anybody not willingly to provide information to the police.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja's upbeat security has greatly improved in the city following recent reported cases of muggings and stabbings, saying the county government has been working day and night to ensure the situation improves. He was speaking in a church service at Jesus Teaching Ministry in Donholm, Embakasi, where he vowed to remain firm on closing down noisy nightclubs in residential areas.
Simnajua ni lazima kelele ya madisco. Kabisa. Naona ni kama wanajaribu kuanza tena. Na ndazima kabisa. Amen. We cannot have nightclubs kwa estate pale mtoto anafaa alale, ati mtoto hawezi fanya homework kwa sababu wazee wanaburudika huko chini. Is that right? No. Ama nilegeze hiyo? Hapana. Nilegeze ama nikaze? Kaza. Nilegeze ama nikaze? Kaza. We must restore order in Nairobi.
Children in primary public schools will also benefit from free meals, with the governor saying the county government has put up 17 kitchens across the city to serve meals to all public primary schools.
Haiwezi kuwa ati Nairobi tuko na watoto wengi zaidi hawaendi shule because of hunger than even in Turkana County. It cannot be. Many times when the children are told to go home at lunchtime wakule, they don't come back because hii ni shamba ya mawe.
Bishop Peter Manyuru of Jesus Teaching Ministry regretted the increased cases of domestic violence, asking the church to be on the forefront in tackling the vice.
We are living in a time when there's a lot of stress in families because of the economy and because of the challenges we are facing in families.
Collins Lusweti, TV 47, Nairobi.
Now, President William Ruto has read the Riot Act to Kericho members of the County Assembly following the chaos that erupted in the Assembly on Friday. This even as House Speaker Patrick Mutai is expected to present himself to the UDA Disciplinary Committee chaired by Charles Njenga on the 20th of January 2023 for not adhering to the party's approval of the election of Philip Rono as the leader of majority.
The ongoing wrangles at the County Assembly of Kericho have Sunday taken a new twist, threatening to tear the assembly right down the middle. This follows the summoning of Speaker Patrick Mutai to the UDA Disciplinary Committee on the 20th of January 2023. In a letter dated January 13th and signed by the committee chair Charles Njenga, Mutai has been faulted for not adhering to the party's values and principles. Njenga further faulted Mutai for failing to guide the House on the party's clear directions that approved the election of Philip Rono as the leader of majority of the Assembly and Peter Kimoi as the chief whip, a decision that caused a confrontation in the House. On his part, President William Ruto, who is also the UDA party leader, read the Riot Act to the Kericho County MCAs, urging them to focus on fulfilling their pledges to their residents.
Mchezo munaendelea, sisi tunataka kila kiongozi ambaye amechaguliwa muanze kupanga mambo ya wananchi, sio kupanga mambo yenu ya vyeo sijui nani, mpaka mnapoteza wakati wa County Assembly mukipigana. Shame on you.
In a span of 4 months since the general elections, the House has had 3 different set of leaders, with Mutai reinstating the first leader of majority, Vincent Korir, in accordance with the ruling of the High Court. However, a section of MCAs led by Deputy Speaker Eric Bett have claimed that it is a long game plan of the Speaker to maim the executive and derail delivery of services. According to a faction of the MCAs, the wrangles at the Assembly have been brought by interference by the County Governor Eric Mutai and Senator Aaron Cheruiyot.
Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua Sunday visited the wife of freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi at the Nairobi hospital where she was admitted. The DP, who cleared her 1.3 million shillings bill facilitating her release, criticized the previous regimes for neglecting Mau Mau freedom fighters and their families. Zainab Mohammed with more.
Speaking while visiting the 92-year-old freedom fighter, the Deputy President reiterated that improving the lives of freedom fighters and their families is one of the top agendas of the government.
One of our pillars is universal health coverage for all. We have made changes in the National Hospital Insurance Fund with a view of introducing a scheme where every Kenyan is covered, so that such situations that we are having here today with Mukami Kimathi should not happen anywhere else in the Republic.
He criticized previous regimes for neglecting this important group and leaving them to wallow in poverty.
This is just one of the many cases that face the heroes of our freedom struggle. The previous governments have not been able to address this matter conclusively.
The 92-year-old Mama Mukami is one of the few heroes and heroines who is still alive 59 years after independence. She has been in and out of the hospital due to ailments related to old age. The Deputy President visited her to show support and appreciation for her sacrifices and contributions to the country. He stated that the government is committed to ensuring that freedom fighters are not forgotten and that they are provided with the support and resources they need to live their remaining years with dignity.
The President and I and the rest of us in government are seized of this matter, and a lot of consultations are going on to deliberate on the fate of the heroes of our freedom struggle.
Zainab Mohammed, T47.
We wish her quick recovery. Now, in the wake of rising fraudulent land dealings that have seen Kenyans lose billions to scammers, the government has been urged to promptly intervene to save investors from further losses by expeditiously digitizing and transactions. That is land transactions. Moige William with that.
Over 500 members of the Mavoloni Company Limited, whose land touches both Kiambu, Murang'a and Machakos counties, have urged the government to enact stricter regulations for land buying and selling companies. Their plea comes as several companies have been caught in alleged deceit by selling non-existent land to unsuspecting buyers.
There is a lot of fake titles here. Unakuta mtu ameuziwa shamba na akona fake title na hajui. The same way wale kandavu waliuzia wale watu wako huko. They never knew kumbe hii shamba si ya kandavu. Wakapewa title fake, zimekuwa na muhuri kutoka kwa serikali. Lakini kuingia ndani, the rim ile na the mother title is not there.
Hii watu wanaoje, sisi mkuna kuambia hii shamba anauza. After that unakuta shamba wewe una. Na pesa yako already ulinunua na imeenda. Pesa imeenda na huna shamba.
The members have also called for the government to digitize land transactions in order to enhance land registration, smart data collection and analysis to report on vital land statistics, also to limit double allocations and put an end to the sale of fake land. They also claim that many families are living a nightmare due to the fraud that has become so entrenched.
Kama mimi sasa, Praxidis Motile Maundu, niko kotini. Na sijui nimestakiwa nini.
Hawa wakora wa mashamba ambao wananakuwa mashamba ya watu warudishie wale ambao wameuzia pesa zao, na watu wenye shamba warudishie, nao wao wafanye kesi na wale ambao walinunua shamba ambayo sio yao.
A section of persons who have lost huge chunk of their land to grabbers link the frauds to a conspiracy between land surveyors, lawyers and brokers. They emphasized that land issues are emotive and should be handled with care and integrity. Land scammers are said to be applying many tricks, including manipulating illiterate landowners to surrender their title deeds and eventually transferring ownership illegally. The vice is said to have spread across the country, with brokers identifying undeveloped land owned by government or private developers and colluding with crooked surveyors and land ministry officials to subdivide it and sell it off to unsuspecting buyers.
Watu wanaanza kuchukiana bure, watu neighbor na neighbor. Serikali isaidie namna inaweza iweka digital in a way that even ukiwa na simu unaweza gongo where you are na ujue mpaka yako inafika wapi na wapi. Simple. Shida iko wapi?
Huwezi kukaa na kudanganya wananchi kama mtu kama una kashamba yako ati una shamba inauzwa na already hakuna shamba.
The members of the public have also urged the government to prioritize land issues, which has proved to be a thorny issue and has seen most Kenyans exploited through fake deals. Mwige William, TV 47.
And Mwingi Central Member of Parliament Gideon Mulungi wants Independent Police Oversight Authority (IPOA) to quickly hasten investigations and charge a police officer who this week broke into a home in Kwanungu area, Migwani Ward, under the police command of Mwingi Central OCPD, where they say the police officer allegedly shot dead one of the family members for allegedly stealing some 10,000 shillings. Mulungi says that if there is failure to find justice to the affected, he will take action, including using the legislative route.
Kwa siku mingi tumesikia mambo ya extrajudicial killings. Watu wanauliwa na polisi ovyo ovyo kama mbuzi. Ikuwe onyo kwa askari yote ambao wanafanya sehemu hiyo, hata Kenya kwa jumla. Hata kama mtu amefanya nini, huwezi kuua. Sheria isemi hivyo. Unaenda kushika, na kama ameleta shida unaomba reinforcement. Askari wanaongezewa. Lakini huwezi kuua. Kwa hivyo nilikuwa na omba haki itendeke kwa hii familia. Number 1, hii ofisa ambaye alifanya hiyo kazi anaitwa Leki, ambaye ako based Mumbuni police post. Walikuwa wakiandamana na mwingine anaitwa Karanja. Huyo Leki number 1 akamatwe, pelekwe kotini, kajibu mashtaka ya mauaji ya kiolela. Na pia shirika ya IPOA ishukulie hii maneno kwa ukali sana.
Boda services are widely available across the country, but these drivers face numerous challenges in their daily operations. Many are subjected to abuse, including physical violence, theft of their motorcycles, and even robbery of their money through fraudulent refund schemes, particularly when using mobile payment services like M-Pesa. But one young man in Kisumu County has come up with an innovative payment method that prevents the fraudulent reverse payment. Our reporter Onesmus Baraka has the story.
The boda industry is one which benefits millions of people in the country, as it is estimated to employ more than 1.2 million operators who engage in the business throughout the country. It is one of the transport sectors that contribute greatly to the growth of the national economy. In Kisumu County, the industry has employed more than 100,000 boda operators. Despite being a lucrative business in an area considered to be an important economic hub by many, some boda operators in Kisumu County experience challenges including abuse by customers. One of the most common ways that they face abuse is when a customer pay for their services via mobile money, then almost immediately reverse the transaction.
Janga ambao tunakumbwa nayo harakati ya malipo ni kwamba wakati wanalipa pesa yenyewe unaona imeingia kwa simu, kisha baadaye utawaona kama pesa tayari wamereverse. Ukiwajaribu kuwapigia tena unapata kama tayari wameshafunga simu.
Ni mara mingi, si mara moja, ni mara mingi sana. Ni mara mingi sana. Imezidi kabisa.
Vita kama hizo ziko, lakini kuna changamoto zake. Kuna wengine wanalipa tu vizuri, pesa yako unapata. Kuna wengine pia, unajua binadamu wako tofauti.
However, there could be a sigh of relief for the operators after one of the boda boda operators in Kisumu decided to come up with a way to stop the injustice. Evans Kibet says he was a victim of being robbed of his money by his customers, and he decided to invent a service where his motorcycle has now become a mobile M-Pesa transaction agency while still ferrying customers.
Kabla sijakuja na hii idea, wateja wengi sana wamereverse pesa zao wenye walikuwa wamenitumanishia, lakini sasa ikakuwa ngumu mimi kuwafuata.
He says if a customer wants to pay using his phone, then he can do so immediately and transaction be done on the spot.
Hii si kama zile mpesa zingine zenye umekaa kwa kibanda unangoja customer, pana. Hii unatoka unaenda unatafuta customer.
As a young man who graduated from Maseno University with a Bachelor of Arts in Physical Planning, Kibet says it was not easy being a boda boda operator because the industry is now crowded, and inventing the mobile M-Pesa services is one step towards creating alternative employment.
Biashara ya boda boda iko chini, narudi kwa hii. So niko flexible, naweza badilisha niende kwa M-Pesa ama nirudi kwa boda boda. Bora ile yenye najua at the end of the day sitakosa kakitu.
So, how does this service work?
Mteja akikuja na mhudumia kama anataka kutoa ama anataka kudeposit pesa yake hapa. Na pia akihitaji boda boda huwa nampeleka mpaka sehemu anaenda.
Kibet has encouraged boda boda operators in the country to embrace the innovation, saying it will help a lot reduce cases of clients reversing money, a statement echoed by his colleagues in Kisumu.
Hii idea itasaidia sana wana boda boda wenzangu, sababu itakuwa rahisi, hamtakuwa mkilumbana, pesa zako zikitumwa hawezi reverse.
Hapo naona itakuwa ni sawa, sababu itapunguza, sababu najua hiyo ni kitu imetoka kwa mwana boda boda wetu.
He has also asked President William Ruto to ensure the youth are encouraged to be innovators to create self-employment.
Ningependa ku-encourage vijana wengine huko waendelee na hii initiative ya rais, itawasaidia.
Reporting for TV47 from Kisumu County, I am Onesmus Baraka.
Indeed, such innovations should be celebrated. And we now shift gears to get to the conversation. We have two gentlemen already on set. And of course, we'll be looping them in shortly so that we are joined with them to have these very, very important talks that revolve around the matters that affect us in the country, either positively or negatively. Most importantly, we take a look at this clamor for a constitutional change. Just how possible is it? What are the timelines? What are the prospects in terms of, us getting to see this come to fruition? Article 255, 256 and 257 of the Constitution highlight ways on how we can speak of amending the Constitution. Just what direction would be the right one at this very point, and what are some of the clauses would we wish incorporated and others scrapped off in the current 2010 Constitution? That is a conversation that we'll be having, but most importantly also on the talk of peace. Is it that time then we can confidently say that as a people we are attaining this conversation of peace? Have Kenyans gotten to a space where they say enough of politics, let us focus on a change, let us focus on boosting the economy? Certainly looking at what played out in Nyanza region upon that visit by President, that is Dr. William Ruto, his deputy, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, alongside other leaders, just getting to the homecoming of the CS for matters ICT, as well as just traversing these different parts. And that welcome that they got to receive is one of the key things that has been celebrated. But is it a point where we say that, yes, we are now peaceful and ready to move forward? what happens to the few that equally were on the other side and enjoyed lots of support in terms of the votes? We'll definitely be looking at that. Is it time also that the Right Honorable Raila Odinga is called to the table for a proper conversation? Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Is what we'll be looking at this morning. Dr. Peter Mbai, governance expert, is with us, as well as Professor Fred Ogola, who's a governance and political strategist. Gentlemen, thank you so much for creating time. Shortly, we'll also have a constitutional lawyer, Ndegwa Njiru, joining us for this very, very important conversation. Good to have you, gentlemen. Karibuni sana. And it's been a series of activities at the Nyanza region, or in the Nyanza region, so to speak, looking at what has played out and the president's visit, and, the different, sort of change in terms of how he was received and all that. Perhaps not a surprise, you think, Professor?
First of all, it's quite interesting on the president visit, but I will say that the president visit has three important implications here. First, it is good he visited that area, and I like the light moment when he said, you gave me 1%, yet Raila Odinga got over 25% in my area. I think that was a very good challenge.
Yes, yeah.
It shows that actually we should be a region whereby we should not be having a candidate that is most likely to win a presidency, having overwhelmingly opposition, or if you like, too much support. We should have balanced kind of voting. But the implications are the following. I could tell you, Linda, that for me it looks like there's going to be a looming soft handshake taking place. But I think what's going to bring these people together is the constitutional amendment, because you realize that when you have a common problem, you can bury your enemy sort of hatchets and face that common enemy, because we are looking at the constitution not working for both of them. The president wants some things, Raila Odinga as a Azimio team wants something, so that should be looking like where they need to actually agree. And you find that with that one, the Prime Minister says, former Prime Minister says, he does not want leader of opposition, he wants to be a Prime Minister. Yet the President says, no, let us just give you leader of opposition. So that could be where the contention will be, but they for sure realize that the constitution does not work. Linda, you can tell that when I proposed that we are amending the constitution, people told me I'm wasting time. Now you realize, people are realizing, and let me tell you something very wrong about this constitution. You look after the election, you're now saying that, are the president with everybody or Raila with everybody? You have to understand, a third of the Kenyans voted for William Ruto. A third voted Raila, and a third didn't vote. Statistics are showing that both of them have lost nearly 50% of the people who supported them. Now, where are those people? So I'm sure Dr. Mbai will tell you they are with the president. No, they don't know where they are. They are hanging. And that's why Operation Indogatuzi is trying to say, come on, civil society, have a conversation. Because every Kenyan, let me tell you what, the meeting only took elected leaders. Elected leaders in Nyanza means nothing to me, not much, because so long as you shouted Raila Odinga's name 10 times, you are likely to be elected. Are you representing the interests of the people of Nyanza region? So I would urge the president that it could have been nice to meet also civil society, so that you can also know, these people who didn't vote, a third of the country, why did they vote? You know, over 200,000 votes in Luo Nyanza slept under the mattress. Had Raila got those votes, he could be president. Meaning that even Luo Nyanza were thinking very hard about Raila. So you have to find where were they and who are these people to work with. So that's the first implication. The second implication is that Luos have always not been very good to come to a government where they have been invited. So we are talking about a possible sitting on the table. I'm telling you, it won't work for the Luos.
It won't work.
History shows it. In God we trust, the rest bring data. In Moi government, Raila joined with the Luo MPs, isn't it? What happened? Fallout in the end, isn't it? Come to Kibaki government, they joined with the Luos. What happened? A fallout. In Uhuru government, they had agreed, because maybe Uhuru was wise and said, okay, we will allow you to have some partnership, but not joining government. That's what happened. Now, what form of this organization between, or kind of negotiation on the table between Ruto and Raila that will happen, if they bring these governors that Ruto was hugging in central, like in Nyanza. Like Onyang Nyong, Orengo, they'll come to UDA and it won't work. And most importantly, how will Gachagua feel Because remember that Gachagua's Mount Kenya gave Ruto 33% of the vote that made him president. Another 30-something% came from Rift Valley. The rest of the world brought to him 20%. You understand? Now, if he's now talking to Western, Mugabe the other day was being positioned as one of the people who are now becoming a kingpin of Western. He has been installed as an elder and a spokesperson. Now he goes to Nyanza, another spokesperson will emerge. What will Gachagua feel? It is too difficult to bring too many people in the same pot. So that's a challenge. The last one is, I would really urge that let us discuss what matters. Let us discuss what is mattering, what's development. People are hungry. People need to pay school fees. People need to pay their health bills. Why was these things not the main discussion rather than discussing how to align ourselves, position ourselves? I'm thinking that we are losing the boat. And in fact, for me, the main thing there I can say is that what our political leaders are giving us are painkillers, if you like. Painkillers is, if I have cancer, if you give me a painkiller, you reduce my pain. But you don't take away the cancer. We have poverty. We have disease. We have illiteracy issues. We have cost of living. These are the problems we are having.
Hold it right there.
If they are not discussed, for me, alignment and all these takeover negotiations, if they don't solve those issues, are not part of it, because we're having fake peace, we're having fake prosperity, we're having fake economic model. We need to really look at the problem on the face and say, yes, we are hungry, and face the issues.
And I like, some of the things that you highlight, but equally to just play the devil's advocate and, incorporate or loop in the governance experts. From the face value, are we clearly getting what would be painkillers, or we're actually now getting to that space where we are addressing these cases that have bedeviled us for the longest of time, and perhaps that will give us long-time solutions as to the problems that we have faced? We agree that we have a couple of matters that need to be addressed urgently, but does governance then dictate that then you overlook those ones that are not as urgent?
Thank you so much, and good morning to you, Linda, and all viewers. One, I think to start off from your question, the tour in Nyanza was purely developmental. There were those issues or soft handshakes. People should not lean too much. I applaud the respect and maturity of Nyanza leaders. It was purely, this is the president of Kenya. Yes, we have had issues. We had issues with the outcome of the elections, but we have decided, since there can only be a president at a time, we are willing to work on purely on issues that dictate that leaders in every part of the country should work with the president because of course of the sharing of the national cake. That was it. So people should not begin leading, this will resort to some either soft or hard handshake. There's no such anything like that on the table anywhere, and it's not necessarily accurate.
Right.
It has been very, very clear. So we want to thank that kind of attitude, and that's what we need. The president said, fine, here I am. I didn't get what I would have expected, but that's democracy. So let Kenyans get very clear. There was no intention before, during, and after to do anything else. Yeah. The issue, and we have clarified this before, the issue of saying about the official position and saying that Raila would have wanted to come in as a prime minister, please, that's not the issue on the table here. We say, as a stability for this nation, we need a strong opposition, and that is something even international players have been encouraging. It's not meant for anybody. It's good for Kenya. It's very good. Funded just the way you see ODM and Wiper, they are being funded by the political parties fund. So even this one, so it's a matter of strengthening our institutions. Now, the other issue, and this is very important. He said that there's something the professor said that the president should have called other sectors. That was a meeting. That's why you see there are some former MPs who are not even allowed. It was purely the president had said, I work with elected leaders. That was it. Governors, elected, MCAs, and all that. About what? Give me the priorities. Now, for the issue of sectoral meetings, I've always tried to encourage Professor. Let him organize the whole country, the civil society group in the whole country. Let's have him host a meeting at Bomas. Let him lie to the president. The president is one person who loves engagement. That one He does not shy away. Media, church, civil society. Why not? Let him do that, because there was no way he was going to hijack the president's diary to go and say we are also here. So can he, and since he has people across the whole country, let him tell the president, I'm so and so. This is what we have. This is the list of people you are going to meet, representing 47 counties. The president will engage, because he's a man who say, what is your agenda? He just send a letter, and the president will come and engage the civil society as one. And finally, he mentioned about now what he about, like upside, fake this, fake that. Now, where we are, if you look, we are not selling hope. We are not selling optimism. We are saying, walk with us. Look at what has been happening. We are not coming to tell you, just wait. No. Every day, every morning, you can see the steps that are taking place. Now, you can see the kind of plans, and I said here last week, from Nanyuki, what's going to happen? You're going to see a lot of activities, a lot of plans. Now, divide this into this. There is the supplementary budget coming in February, right? Now, what will happen in that supplementary budget? Arising from Nanyuki, the ministries have been told, look, can we get short-term, immediate short-term projects running? That is the money that's going to be appropriated in the supplementary budget. And those are the projects that will be done before June for this financial year. Then, of course, as you are aware, the budget cycle for 23-24 is ongoing. So we are going to have what I would call short-term and immediate projects. Projects done, complete. I mean, those roads, everything that is earmarked. Then we are going to have what I call medium-term. Medium is from the year 23-24 going to another 2-3 years. Yeah. Then, of course, it's going to be short-term. So, yes, the foundation is secure. Everybody can see where we are going. It's just a matter of time we begin seeing things on the ground. So that is what I would want to say. There is a lot of hope. There is a lot of positive optimism. Optimism on its own is not enough. It has to be positive. You have to. It has to be measured and checked. Where are we going with it? That is where we are as a Kenyan today.
And I'd love for us to hold this conversation on the Constitution until we have Wakili Ndegwa Njiru, who's on his way, because I'd also love to understand just what are the possibilities that now that these two parties seem to be in agreement that there's that need for a constitutional change, and they would want to go the popular initiative. Yet we have seen the president as well speaking to the members of parliament clearly, perhaps just indicating we'd love for us to go the parliamentary way or the parliamentary initiative. But just what are the differences between these two? And do we all get to a space where we go to a referendum or not? This is what we'd love to look into. But as you speak about long-term projects as well as short-term projects, and long-term remedies or ultimate remedies to the problems that we have, we look at the previous reigns, lots of stalled projects in the Uhuru government, and of course perhaps the current government trying to look into them right now, making adjustments, saying that you go away, we're no longer going to allow for you to work on this one, we're going to get a different person to work on the Galana Kulalu, we're going to have a different contractor dealing with the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, and all these adjustments that need to be done. Should we be excited as to what it is that Daktari says, and let's have long-term or short-term ones that clearly we can see that this has gone to the bottom of it, that this one has been cleared, as opposed to have long ones or long-term projects that appear to have the ultimate solution, yet they're left halfway.
Yeah, Linda, thank you very much. There is something we call dead capital. And dead capital simply means in governance that your predecessor started some projects, and because of either personal disagreement or anything you call it, you leave them and you want to initiate your own for your own legacy. But it's so costly. Look, for example, Mai Mahi, Nairobi, that has been cancelled, is a dead capital. Do you know how much investment just even when Kenyans went and procured some things, or at least prepared themselves for that opportunity. Now, that capital here is from the government side, private sector side, and civil society side. So, in as much as they talk about the issue of now we have to reprioritize and do supplementary budgets, this budget was done when the current president was deputy president. What stopped him from looking at the future of Kenya? Or by that time, he never concerned about what was good for Kenya. He was just campaigning. He never cared about what was good for Kenya. He is a Kenyan. Linda, let's put politics aside. We are all Kenyans. What is good for Kenya is good for everybody. In fact, I don't like these things whereby people revise policies and budgets because they're in power. Because do you know what's happening, Linda? Today, me as a professor, I work in Strathmore. One day I can be sacked from there. or one day I can lose my job from there, or one day I can leave that place in any way. If I put policies because they were good for me, my son may want to work there. They'll affect them. So I'm looking at long term, but also when you're doing your short term, you should not compromise your long term. Because there are some steps you make telling me that actually you're ruining your long term and medium term. So I'm a governance expert. Linda, I earn on strategic plans. That's where I earn my money. So I know what is wrong. If somebody is going to score, you see by the first tackle. If I pass to you the ball and your first tackle is in the direction you cannot score, why are we waiting for you to score? So it's clear that I'm looking at these steps going forward. I call them painkillers. Why? Let me give an example.
Yeah.
If you give subsidy to fertilizer, tell me when that will be sustainable. Every year, people eat the amount of food they ate last year. If not, it increases because of population growth. Right. Will you give subsidies forever? Let's go to Nyanza. You've been told they are setting up housing project in Homa Bay. Let me be particular now.
Yeah.
Do you think people in Homa Bay want houses or they want income? How will they pay for the rent?
Okay.
If I build you a house, you don't know how you pay rent, how will you maintain water, electricity, even cleanliness. We are creating something we don't know. The people from Nyanza and Western needs more income than anything. Okay. They don't even need hustler fund. Because let me tell you what, Linda, I've analyzed even the statistics being shown by the PS of microfinance, the SME thing. Do you know what's happening? The most uptake of hustler fund is Western Kenya. Western Kenya is a loan market. They have bad habit of borrowing money. They have taken over 65% of the hustler fund because even that the biggest casualties of Fuliza. I was working for the bank, Linda. When you do a strategy for the bank, we found that when you do a strategy for the bank, the target for deposit comes from Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya are savers.
Okay.
So you raise target for Mount Kenya but you raise the target for loans in Western.
Okay.
And you lower loans in Western, isn't it? Yeah. While you lower deposit you lower loan for Mount Kenya, while you lower deposit for Western Kenya. Yeah. What is that? Hey. It means that these people are taking more debt. Okay. And they're becoming more indebted. Linda, now tell me, a region which has more debt, while a region has more income, where should you be taking income? You should be taking income to Western Kenya. Area. These people need factories where they can work and earn money, not housing where they need to spend. This housing project you want to put on them is going to take them more into debt. They need to set up a factory where people can work. They want companies where they can earn money, take kids to school, not put them in more debt. You have a house, you can't pay school fees, you cannot pay electricity. I can say the present priorities are misaligned to Nyanza people. Okay. And the Nyanza leaders need to come out and tell them the truth, because we have too many yes men and yes women in this country because of stomach. Linda, it's not that they are not intelligent. Anyang' Nyong'o is one of the most seasoned economists who did planning under Kibaki government. Okay. Now, everything tilts towards the stomach. It's not that they're not intelligent, but now intelligence being used towards how your stomach will be taken care of. And last but not least on these things of, we are working with the president. Linda, do you know why we went for devolution? Operation Linda Ugatuzi is saying devolution was about wisdom on the ground, resources on the ground, and fruits on the ground. Meaning, we don't need a president to go to Nyanza so that Nyanza can develop.
They don't need to be in good books?
Yes, you don't need to. Just get the money for your county. Okay. All these governors had a manifesto. I never saw anywhere in the manifesto that they'll work with the president. Okay. That is not there. Okay. They were doing manifesto knowing what are the county revenues, isn't it? And they should deliver to people, cheating us, now we are working this, but you insulted Ruto. These people, I was watching them. Right. Ruto was the worst. He was the devil incarnate. Now I saw people hugging him. You hug him, and you are the one who told us he is a thief, isn't it? And you are hugging them. Now you are telling us we join you. And then you say elected leaders. You insulted him so that you can become a governor. Because in Nyanza, if you want to win, insult the opponent and praise Raila. Okay. Then after you become president with that strategy.
And Wakili, we're coming.
This is honest. After you win with that strategy, now you hug the opponent Now where are we?
Do you think the people were in agreement? And I want you to respond after Wakili has said something on that.
Yes.
So that perhaps you can do what? Counter, or you can, wacha Wakili atusalimie kidogo for 2 minutes, alafu we'll take a break.
He's already nodding.
Yes, Wakili. Not perhaps, atusalimie tu.
Good morning, Linda. Good morning, the panelists with Daktari and Professor.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting argument that I've had Professor put forward.
Yeah.
I've never had an opportunity to analyze that situation as it is now. And what is coming is that we have very, very insincere politicians in this country in the name of leaders.
I thought we would all be celebrating that aspect of peace for once.
You see, what Professor is putting up a very, very important point.
Argument in point. Yeah.
That you do not need to support government for resources to trickle down. Reason being, the architecture of our constitution is very clear, that resources are to be allocated by parliament irrespective of your gender, political inclination, irrespective of your religious affiliation. Because we are all supposed to be treated in equal perspective when it comes to questions of the law. And parliament is the people's representatives. They should not look at which political inclination or political formation you are in for you to receive resources. So when I see William going to Kisumu or to Nyanza, it is within his rights to go there as a president for this country. But he should not go owing them with goodies and trying to show them, you see, I am not the bad person that people speak about.
But is that exactly what he was trying to do? Or he was just,
yes.
Is that exactly what he was doing in this very case? I mean, you probably do not expect for these governors to boycott the events just because...
You need to be an outsider or you need to be a foreigner for you to underestimate the weight that William Ruto owes people with. It is a concoction of facts, concoction of lies, concoction of goodies. It's a whole package.
It's technically what...
And that is exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened in Mount Kenya region. William was able to endear himself to the people of Mount Kenya region through the church Harambes. You see, my view, and I concur with the professor, if you empower people, they'll be able to build their own houses.
Allow us to take a short break on that very note, and then we come back.
Stories. Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
This week on The Grind, we get to sit with the founder of Badalu Workers Agency.
We are a professional organization, and we are actually regulating, bringing regulations, integrity and accountability for these home care workers. We have continuous training.
Kwa hii knob yetu kama vile tunaona instructions zetu, tuko na mix, tuko na delicate, tuko na rinse and spin, tuko na drain.
Once you've been placed to a home, we still recall you every month for the continuous advanced classes. During this time, we are able to now tailor-make you to fit perfectly into that home.
Monday, 8:30 p.m.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. Watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
In studio, Professor Fred Ogola and the constitutional lawyer Ndegwa Njiru, as well as Dr. Peter Mbai, as we look at the president's visit in Nyanza region, and that is the better part of the weekend, and also we'll look at this clamor for that constitutional change. And so let me take it away from you and perhaps just loop in Daktari briefly on that very matter.
Thanks so much. We need to understand, and this is a place where we have to look at this thing in a very positive way. You don't have to call elected leaders names because they met the president. Please, let us be very clear. Every coin that needs to go to the governors of Nyanza goes without the president. Because it's in the constitution. Every money for CDF goes there. Every MC in Nyanza get their money. But we are saying the president has a right to visit. Why is there so much cry when the president visits Nyanza? He was in Coast the other day. He was in Western for a whole 3 days. He was in Mount Kenya. He was in North Rift the other day. Why is it? It's a big issue when the president visits.
It's clearly a stronghold for the right.
Thank you very much. People should relax and say, good, this is a good thing to do because the president has to visit. Did you like it, Linda, when the first president, Jomo Kenyatta, since 1969, never visited Nyanza until he died? Is it what people would want?
But what is the problem then,
People expect leaders to rise above some issues, small issues, or you lost direction.
So do we have a problem with the messaging? Perhaps maybe we need to look into that. Because
where the president has gone, he has met leaders. Listen, in the other place of the country, coast everywhere, he has met leaders on the first day. They have picked the priority areas. Let me mark this why the president goes. There's a national government budget, Linda, right? Separate from the county government. There is what you call interdependence. There is what the budget of the county government can do. There are those national government projects that are supposed to be done in every part of the country. They were discussing partnership. How do we come in? And he goes and visits some of these places. And he was magnanimous enough to say, look, even the projects that were started by the former president, I'm good because they were meant for the good of the people. Even if the former president is not there, I'm going to continue with them. So we should not lead too much. And I want to encourage the people who want to criticize government. Like I said, those who want to criticize government, for example, just go there, pick the issues, engage the leaders or the president directly, for example, if you want to add value. But when you say, oh, those are fake promises, or you go and say, and please, you owe the Western people an apology. No. We cannot accept in national TV to come and say Western people don't
Professor has said he's worked, of course, in the bank, and has taken this analysis in relation to. Please
let me suggest this.
Linda,
if you have people who have a problem with issues like about if he thinks so. Me, personally, I've not come across those data, and he can share with me later, because for me to talk about people and share in a national TV that they don't pay debts, they're indebted, that's a big issue. But I want to say this, let us encourage them. And I want to say, the people who are telling young people not to pay Hustler Fund, they are lying to them. Listen, there's no chief who you come and say and knock on your door to tell you to pay Hustler Fund. You have a direct contract with either M-Pesa or Airtel Money or anything. They will pay. So
I think the most important thing in this case is not
the young people.
Whether they pay or not. Yes. The most important thing is that even as they borrow, what are they borrowing to do with this money?
Linda, Kenyans are intelligent.
Let's allow Wakili briefly and then come back to you, Professor.
They know anybody borrowing money. They have been borrowing money all the years, Linda. They know.
All right.
They borrow because they know, but this is because of the lower interest. That's why they are borrowing. Let us not try to micromanage people. People have independent minds. They wake up even before the Hustler Fund. They are waking up every day to do something. Let us not believe in that because we are leaders here. We are trying to trash the little things are done for the people. Let us leave the people to be. In February, the government is launching a high amount. What are they going to say? Relax. Okay. Let us not try to. I mean, housing is meant to provide employment. There are people who need the houses, but maybe Fred has four houses in Kisumu, in Nakuru, in Mombasa, in Nairobi. Like, come on, let these people. It's a project. Let us criticize where it is necessary. It is good to correct, but please let it be positive.
Okay.
Yeah, my view, we need to have an analysis of all the funds that have been created previously by previous administration.
Right.
Because William's administration is not the first one to come up with the affirmative action that is aiming or geared towards elevating the status of the youths in the society or the poor people in the society. We've had these affirmative funds being created left, right, and center. We had the Wezesha funds, the women funds, we had the youth funds, and all those funds are still there. So the question is, are they being impactful in our society? For example, when Uhuru Kenyatta came, he came up with his youth fund. How impactful were those funds?
Yeah.
Were they appropriated for the intended reason, or were they just a waste of time or a waste of resources? In my view, I have not heard people coming to say that there is an entrepreneur somewhere in the Republic of Kenya who went and borrowed the youth funds and did XYZ. You could only see 2 or 3 or 4, at least about 1 or 10.
Well, at least we have success stories, and I think I've hosted
yes, about 10% is there. But much of it is money that is not appropriated for the purpose that is intended to. One, because the individual who is borrowing this money, or the individual who is getting this money, one, is not properly capacitated. He is completely incapacitated in terms of resources, because money itself is not all what you need for you to thrive and for you to become successful. There are some other supporting infrastructures that you need, and government is not providing those supporting infrastructures that an individual need. Then the only problem I have with the Nyanza visit myself is that when Uhuru Kenyatta decided to go also and develop Nyanza region.
Courtesy of the handshake?
No, not courtesy of the handshake.
You're right.
Not courtesy of
because it was necessary that the people
not courtesy of the handshake.
Okay.
The same right William has to go to Kisumu and to go to Nyanza.
Fair enough.
As a president is the same right President Uhuru had.
That's fine. Okay.
But you see, because of the political conmanship that William and his cohort came up with, and because of the political misinformation, and because of trying to to create anger in Mount Kenya region, we were told that Uhuru Kenyatta is in Nyanza courtesy of the handshake. The question is, then what is William looking for in Nyanza, if then he's also not looking for a handshake? My view is, let us look this country as a country under Article 134. The president is entitled to unify this country. And in the unification of the country, you unify them socially, politically, and economically. So I do not have a problem of him going to Nyanza, but I have a problem in him misinforming the people in Central Province that they were denied development because of the hardship. It is not history. It is history that is informing us. Then it tells you that the individuals who are in this government currently are the individuals that we can actually rely on. For example, if you look at someone like Mr. Gachagua. Mr. Gachagua is the one who led that campaign of hate, ridicule, dislike, and contempt against the people of Nyanza. It was like it was a sin or an abomination for Uhuru Kenyatta to take development to Nyanza. It's as if Nyanza people are not entitled to this development. When shall we get over these politics? And the problem lies with the head of state. If the head of state is only looking for political expediency and is not sincere in his deeds, then we always have this problem.
Can we trust the president to be sincere in this one at least? And if it is not then the president, at least the behavior of the people of Nyanza themselves, the way they have taken this up, the way they welcomed them, the way they acknowledged and appreciated this, and perhaps they said, well, enough is enough. We're not going to throw spoiled eggs or rotten eggs. We're not going to throw stones. We're not going to ridicule these leaders for coming to Nyanza. We're just going to appreciate them as they have come.
Linda, what I can tell you is that Dr. Mbaye got me wrong. I'm not blaming the president.
Yes.
I am asking the leaders of Nyanza to be honest with where Nyanza's priorities lies. I have campaigned myself in Western Kenya, especially in Siaya region. I have statistics. When you could want to help any woman, you ask her. I can show you messages. Where should I send you the money? Yes. Don't send on this phone, send on that phone. I've seen in Uganda an average of 5 SIM cards per person. And the issue is Fuliza. Hustler will add 5 more SIM cards. That's 10 SIM cards. Imagine if you have a debt in 10 SIM cards. Can you pay school fees? Can you pay hospital bills? Can you be able to take a child to school? Can you be able to buy food?
And maybe this brings us, and I agree. Professor, allow me to ask this.
What we need is income, not debt. And then secondly, I want the president to be honest. I've seen these things of, cut this, cut that. Linda, I'm an economist. I believe that Tell me any nation that has rich citizens, and I tell you a rich nation. If we invest in the people and make the people rich, a nation is rich. Giving them debt, it is not investing in them, it's indebting them. And that's why I say it's a fake thing. We are saying, hustler fund, I'll get 500, then I'm okay. Then what? After you are now in debt. So I don't want fake peace. I don't want to fake prosperity. I want real prosperity. Even in economy, about real development. What is real development? So these projects he's talking about, they are not for this real development I'm talking about. Because after you give people hustler fund, then you give them fertilizer subsidy, Linda, tomorrow, next year, you need to give them another subsidy. And you'll give them subsidies until generations to come. But if you build factories, you industrialize a city the way he was talking about during the campaign. Which industrialization project does the president have? Let's be honest here. When people are moving, when there's no incentive for people to invest in this country, to improve industrialization, so that can create jobs here, and taxes can be paid by a big company, rather than going to say you want to tax a hustler person. How will that happen if they have no money? They are in 10 SIM cards in debt. 10 Fuliza, 10 hustler. I'm looking at statistics here. It has been even published by the Star.
Yeah. And you remember during the campaigns that if I don't cut Professor short, so I can remind him. One of the issues that they really campaigned against was that the country is in debt and the hustler is in debt. What they have now done, they have actually put the hustler in much more debt than he was. Yeah. Remember the Fuliza was an issue during the campaigns, and they said watu lazima watolewe CRB. Sasa umetolewa CRB lakini uko na SIM card 10 ndio uweze kusurvive.
And I want to ask this question on the SIM cards. Is it time that we regulate on how people get to acquire some of this? And I'm sure some of you have traveled. There are countries you cannot acquire a SIM card just like that. The process to get one SIM card is quite a hassle. For instance, in Ethiopia. So do we need to get to a space where we say by the time you acquire a SIM card?
Linda, there we go. I wrote an article one day that this model of hustler is going to bring bad manners to an economy. And I'm an economist. I've done work for an entire economy of a country like India. Let me give you an example. When I went to India, I studied the model of microfinance in India. And I found out in India, the microfinance is more than 3/4 in the government book. Do you know why? Because the government used this as an economic tool, whereby when you have almost reaching an election, you tell people, I've forgiven you all your loans in microfinance. It is called the harvest season. And then you win the election. So in India, there's more democracy, but there's no development. The correlation between democracy and development has eluded the world. You cannot show me any single country where we have more democracy and more development. China doesn't seem to have more democracy, but it has more development. Go to Rwanda. I don't think there's more democracy there, but they are moving somewhere. In Kenya here, we are allowed to be democratic, but then we are not being allowed to align ourselves to development.
But we've put up a fight to make sure that we are democratic.
I'm telling you, in short, we should be very careful what we are doing to people. My son will grow up knowing that you can have 10 SIM cards, borrowing money from here, which is unethical. CRB was brought simply because of that. And then you remove people from CRB and tell them you don't have to pay. You know, Linda, I'm a banker. Let me give you history. Before the year 2000, people used to borrow money with no intention to pay. But then towards 2010, a big chunk of people started borrowing money with an intention to pay. We have some people also who borrow money praying they don't have to pay. So we have people who borrow not to pay. People borrow praying not to have to pay. Then we have people who borrow hoping to pay, but then we have people who borrow intentionally that they'll pay back. So where are we putting ourselves? At the moment, we have more people borrowing with either no intention to pay or praying that they don't have to pay. And that kind of economy is not a good economy, because then trust in the economy goes down. Let me finish my point.
Make it very brief. So
the last point I have here is, Mr. President was asked on live television, you guys were there, TV47 was there. He was asked a question, Mr. President, can you tell us where the Hustler Fund is going, and has the government done research to show the hustlers that where if you take your money, you are more likely to succeed? The president says Kenyans know. Linda, me and you are here. The level of financial literacy in the country is still very low. Do you tell me a hustler who borrows 500 shillings knows where to invest in this economy that has highest return? And I thought the president was not supposed to say that. He was supposed to have said, we have not done, we will do, or we have done, we have discovered. If you put money on a boda, or you put money in roasting maize, you are more likely to pay than if you put money on that. But all social media was awash by people either buying food or buying alcohol with hustler fund. And people take this seriously. Linda, if you try to tell people the opposite of something tends to work, I was in St. Mary's Yala. There used to be something very interesting. Let me finish by. When you in St. Mary's Yala, you're not supposed to speak on Sheng. And when people used to speak in Sheng, they used to be called to parade now to be ashamed how they are speaking Sheng. You know me, I came from Sia, we never knew about Sheng in town. So it made those of us who didn't know Sheng know Sheng.
No Sheng.
And Sheng became more prominent by them trying to make us look worse by trying to portray that we are speaking Sheng. So if you try to educate people using the negative, sometimes they tend to adopt the negativity more than to take the positive. And the Bible says, my people are suffering because of lack of knowledge. The Bible says that the president believes in the Bible. He has preached it. He is holding. First lady holds the Bible. The wife of the president holds the Bible. Let them read that part to know people suffer because of what? Ignorance. Inform them where hustler fund needs to be, if at all is legal. But of course, operationally, GOtv maintains that hustler fund is illegal. We are waiting for the Kate cause to be decided.
And of course, the case is in court, and perhaps it will be vindicated. It will be given a clean bill of health. The ultimate goal of the Hustler Fund is to get us to revive the economy, is to get that hustler, to do something out of this money and grow that which they have borrowed. Just what are the plans towards making sure that this then is done, as opposed to one getting a SIM card, throwing it away, getting another one and another one? And we asked this.
And put a disclaimer, that is your view of how you understand it. We shall give our view of how we understand it.
Okay, fine, fair enough. And I mean, that was the question that was asked to the president.
Yes.
What is being done to the business environment after all said and done, so that these people, after borrowing, then are able to as well do business with this money?
One, to be very procedural, you ask a question which I want to quickly about this issue of what you would call dead projects.
Yeah.
And he mentioned about dead capital. It's very simple. There were projects that were started by the former government, and some of them are the ones that have been checked. And the 500, for example, billion infrastructure board that's being looked for is to continue those projects. So anybody saying that the current president killed the project that was started, that's not true. Let's go very quickly, okay? Because the 500 billion spoken about is to come. No.
That's a fact.
I mean, let's in this one's forum, we talk one by one.
That's a fact.
So that is one. Secondly, let me give an example of the JICA project of Maimahiu. Because I mean, I come from Nakuru, and people need to hear this. It's very simple. What happened is that there was a review of how, because there was some haste in most of these projects. Look at the Maumau Road. There was some haste in doing things. Okay, of course, for political reasons, right?
What is wrong with the Maumau Road?
Look here.
What is the evil of the Maumau Road?
I'm saying there's no evil, but it's been...
There was a rush.
It got into some headwinds. Okay. The JICA one, because it's long overdue. It ought to have been done, the dueling ought to have been done like 20 years ago. Because of the traffic, 20,000 vehicles a day, right? So it's just a review, and I want to say it from where I sit. That project is not dead. It is just being renegotiated to be able to be, let me tell you.
They are renegotiating the contract.
Let me
The awarding of the contract is what is being
negotiated. Here we need to talk one by one, so that we can be able to communicate.
Okay, fair.
So what I'm saying is this. Imagine telling me 20,000 vehicles that they will pay to use that road. Express highway has an option. If you don't have the money to use express highway, you can use the normal road. That's what you do. You give options. But to say that there's only one road to Mau Summit and you must pay for Kenyans, that ought to have been funded by the taxpayers. So those are the kind of things the president is saying. I'm not going to subject my people to a toll road. Let's mobilize, because we have been doing that in the past. The Thika highway, it doesn't have a toll. It was mobilized by some partners or something. That's why I want to say, it is simple to say, let's not use a toll, let's take some time and do a road. Now, that's all. The other thing, when you talk about funds, they have never been done 10%. Please, if you sit here in Nairobi, if you want to know how WEF, Women Enterprise Fund, Youth Fund have done, go and talk to the county managers, ask for data for the 10 years. You'll be shocked. So you don't make political statements in Nairobi, yet where the funds are supposed to be done at the grassroots, you are not there, and you're making statements here. Now, finally, to come to your question, Fred maybe he has not gotten the data from the financial institutions. Those people you are saying, 4.5 million already have been lifted from CRB. Now, the issue of streamlining the SIM cards, why people can jump from this one to the other one, I am privy to the information. The Treasury is working on a system, on a policy, to simply make sure it's only one person per SIM card. In short, to streamline that is a problem. However, please, finally, I want to urge, now coming to your question of the Hustler issue, the Hustler Fund, I want to urge our people. Professor sitting here, myself, and Wakili, we are prominent people. God helped us. We came from the village through a lot of, they don't like that word, through a lot of hustling, so to speak. Now, we should be the ones at the forefront, Linda, to go and tell our people it is possible to rise from where you are. But you can't see a time to say how our people are poor, how they are defaulters, yet we are in a position, by God's grace, to be able to speak to the people and encourage them to bring them up. Imagine you are seated here, instead of telling somebody, I wish you can do something, start where you are with that money. Today, I have loans. They have loans, if they can tell you. Everyone here has loans, but they know they must pay to go to the next level, right? I also have several loans. I'm doing business. I mean, I do a lot of other things. Why can't you encourage the other people down there that, yes, take advantage of that 500, you are going to get 50,000, you're going to get 1 million, instead of rubbishing the whole idea. We cannot build nation. If as readers, we have no moral, you have no moral, probity to start to encourage other people. What are we saying? What are we saying? Please, the Hustler Fund, it is pricking a lot of people. This thing, oh my, it is making people so much less stressed and uncomfortable. Let Hustler Fund, it is a way of moving economically from the bottom coming up. People have a problem. Now, what are they going to say when we launch now the 1 million to 10 million?
And then, they have articulated their fears as to this.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's in order.
Fears are there, but Linda, let me ask you, are you telling me the 15 billion that already have been absorbed by yes, the money has been absorbed, but seated here as leaders, we are like, how?
Linda, what are the economic values after all said and done? After this money,
what is the impact?
What is the impact? Because
Linda,
one thing for
the economic revolution and the value chain of the economic uplifting, it is a process, and I can tell you, in months and weeks,
we'll get to see
exactly, because the money has come to the economy. Remember, economic growth is not a switch.
When money is in circulation.
It's not a switch, it is in circulation.
Let's allow Akili to come.
Linda, you see, these so-called Hustlers funds, and I want to disabuse the notion that it's only Kenya that tolls their roads. Countries all over the world which are doing major projects like the Mau Summit Road, they are all told, go to China, go to Germany. You will always find a toll station somewhere. So it is, I want to disabuse that notion that the William Ruto's government, because he was in government in the previous government, that they were trying to become oppressive. They were not being oppressive to the people, because that is one way of trying to partner with the community to develop. In any case, the Hustlers Funds has a problem, and a serious one. And we do not want to give false hope to our people. We don't want to become those guys who are having the prosperity gospel, that it is doable. For example, if somebody goes and borrows, a boda person borrows 500 shillings. This boda person borrows 500 shillings, he will need to fuel his boda. A liter of petrol currently is 177, right?
Yes.
And remember, 5% was saved. So this guy is getting 470, is it 75? And 75, right? 475, he needs at least 3 liters in a day to circulate. So it is 177 times 3, you get what?
Simple mathematics, Professor.
Economist.
Economist is here.
You know the economist. What do you get?
Around 400.
No. I want to show you where you cannot give them more. You see, that is 530, right? 530. For him to circulate the whole day, he needs 530 to be able to be in business that particular day. This is something I've asked them. Now remember, the money that he got was 475. So he's already starting from a loss. How is that guy going to survive in that particular boda business? He needs 530 for a day. He has received.
But remember, he's on the ride and he's making money.
No. You see this guy. This guy has not yet fueled his boda for the day. That is one of the tragedy. The other thing is, this guy who is riding this boda, sio yake. He has been given this boda by somebody somewhere, and then he needs to give him some money at the end of the day, say about 300 in a day. So he has a debt to pay to the hustlers funds. He has money to pay to the owner of the boda, and he needs money to take home for unga.
But in a day, this is the boda guy.
Yes,
somebody else will tell you there's the chapati guy. Somebody else will tell you
this economy. You know this economy, the bottom up economy, is focusing on those guys, the boda people. So I've just used him as an example because that was the basis upon which the campaign was done. So this guy, for him to survive, he at least needs to have a startup capital for 1,000 shillings in a day for him to start up. And you see what he's getting. We are creating more poverty, and we're making our people more poor and more dependent than being independent. If you look at the Southern Korea model, and these gentlemen are much more endowed to speak
which is working so well
about it more than I, and especially Professor. The Southern Korea model is completely different from what we are doing. Even the Chinese model, where we are borrowing a lot of leave from, is completely different. We cannot build this country by making our people indebted. We can only build this economy by creating manufacturing and production value chains, not through debt value chains, because this Hustlers Fund is a debt-geared value chain.
Okay. Yes. After this break, Professor, after this break, after a quick one. Thanks. All right.
TV47, the home of untold stories. Maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu ya kizidi, muone daktari.
Are you looking for a distinguished institution of academic and professional excellence to kickstart your career? Then join KIPS Technical College, a top NEC, CASNEB and NEET examination center in Kenya that is fully accredited by TVET Authority with over 90% national exam pass rate. We offer high quality, hands-on training in engineering, hospitality, tourism, journalism, ICT, business, accounting, hairdressing and beauty, health sciences, community development and foreign language, and have placed over 26,000 graduates since 1994. Our state-of-the-art equipment, well-equipped workshops, indoor and outdoor sports facilities make us the preferred choice.
During my training, I was able to become Miss KIPS, which has helped me to achieve my goals in community development.
Admissions for January 2023 intake is ongoing. For more information, call 0720-813-113 or visit any of our 6 campuses located within Nairobi. KIPS Technical College, your sure path to success.
Kaluma King Herbal Lozenges zinazo nguvu maradufu kutuliza kikohozi, vidonda vya koo na mafua. Kaluma King ni shwari.
Tika mama huyo muharifu kaiba kuku zangu, vifaranga wangu na mayai zote pia kabeba. Haya, tika mama huyo.
Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari. TV47, the home of untold stories.
We're back, gentlemen. We are back. Constitutional lawyer Ndegwa Njiru, Dr. Peter Mbaye, as well as Professor
The Hustlers Funds accountability is being done by Hussein Mohammed on Twitter. He's the one who is informing
TikTok,
us.
Facebook.
So this amount of money has
but
gone.
Is it not technology?
Public funds, public resources is being administrated on Twitter.
But we have
even the Audit General is not even in
Treasury.
Yes?
We have this reports from Treasury. So
which ones? Where are they?
Yeah, we do.
Where are they?
I mean, those are the very same reports
where are
used
they?
to question the president.
We cannot have the report from the Treasury. The person who is the accounting officer for this country, first of all, who creates oversight of the executive is Parliament.
Okay.
What has Pact said or stated about this fund?
Let them talk. 1 minute only before you go.
It is misplaced, whatever it is that he's saying.
Wakil is a lawyer. He knows these things went through Parliament.
Yes.
Simple.
And he knows where to get some
regulations.
The regulations were passed in Parliament. Now we cannot go there. They are there.
They did, yes.
Treasury did public participation and all that. Let's stop there. My point was because you have to be objective. We can't be objective. 1 minute.
Yes.
Debt in itself is not bad. It's what you do. That's why we have been saying you cannot live. Even myself, I have debts. Yeah. But I have to figure out I'm taking a loan so that I can put it in a productive venture. So I can be able to pay back and be left with the profit. Let us tell our people the truth. We cannot tell our people that you cannot develop, that for you must run away from debt and make it look bad. We are saying, please, Hustler Fund is the stimulus. It's an economic stimulation.
Oh, okay.
That's what we are saying. And that is the way to go. And please, if somebody has a problem with somebody getting 500, if they took the 500 in November 4th, by now, they should be getting 2,000. By now, they should be getting 2,000.
Kazim Mtaani was as good as that. But Kazim Mtaani came in time of COVID. Is equally as
we cannot continue telling our people to
Professor, let's sum this conversation now.
Talking about
yes.
We are in the 21st century.
And we close it.
We are leaders. No.
And is that not
our people are poor? That is a fact, and the government is not putting up proper strategies.
The problem I have.
Remove them from poverty.
The problem I have is
you'll be finalizing this.
The people who are singing and encouraging our people to be poor on the grassroots, they are doing very well in Nairobi. We cannot go that direction.
And that's a very important conversation. No. That's a very important view.
We must be positive and please, there's a difference between, you should have you can be in a civil society and be very positive in your criticism.
Okay.
There's a very thin line between opposition and civil society. They should come out. You can be civil society, but engage very positively.
Okay.
Yeah, let me
close it for us, Professor.
For me, I will not throw words, but I'll just go to facts. Linda, we know very well that a journey, like he said for us, I can tell them on live television. I am the boy who was chased most for school fees. I slept on an angry stomach more than any average Kenyan. Linda, I was a child in a family of a catechist. My father earned $15 a month. That's $1,500. We used to live in Kibera here. And we were 11 children. I'm the sixth born. Do you know how much chances I had to go to school? Tell me any family where the income is $15 a month with 11 children. Tell me how hard it was to get away. My father did one thing. Freddie told me, hard work and creating income works. I planted sugarcane to give my stepmother to sell. I planted cabbage. I didn't borrow money. Actually, you don't need to borrow money. How much is a seed? These people, some people in the villages with a whole shamba, there's water nearby. Western Kenya has got a lot of rivers, lakes, name them. You can call them, some of them called Trans-Nzoia. Some of them, Nzoia is the river that runs.
But Professor, you also cannot say that it's cast in stone, that your route should be the route.
I'm trying to say this, creating a debt as an economics. When you borrow money, Linda, you stop working for yourself, you start working for the one who are borrowed money from. If you borrow money from the bank, what wakes you up are bills to pay. And these are debt to pay now, not just bills. Imagine you have bills to pay and you have a debt to pay. If you borrow money from Hustler Fund and you want to survive on Hustler Fund and Fuliza, you are making yourself more indebted. I gave you analysis. With 8 SIM cards or 10 SIM cards in negative, tell me how you can pay school fees. It is not a joke. I'm just being an economist. I'm very clear about it. If someone injects a factory in Western, for example, cotton was there. Cotton factories in Central. There was a rice scheme that died in Ahero. This was the discussion which was supposed to take place. How do we resurrect the rice scheme there? The cotton lean. If you go to the entire Siaya, it has been a cotton belt. It is dead. You go to Western Kenya on the other side, sugarcane. I even told you, now we have supermarkets in Bungoma, in Kakamega, repackaging grains like green grams, rice. Where are these coming from? They are imported rice. Then a supermarket repackages them, brands them, the name of the supermarket, and sells to people. It is killing the agricultural circuit of that area. Linda, what I'm trying to tell is very practical, that we need to create factories where people can earn money.
Now, just speaking, the factories that were in existence then, just how helpful were they in relation to...
But you see, that's where I talk about now. We have new technologies. Let me tell you what, in sugar, I'm an expert in economics in across the board. Let me give you a clear example. Do you know why sugar from Brazil is cheaper in Kenya after importation and taxation? It's because Brazil crushes 7 tons of sugarcane to produce 1 ton of sugar. Kenya crushes 14 tons of sugarcane to produce 1 ton of sugar.
Okay.
Now, don't we have technologies? And one thing is, how do we manage the planting on sugarcane? Either they cut them when they are too immature or too mature. So the sugar content is down. Then secondly, the machines are inefficient. Is this something no one knows? I'm telling you, all these people know the solution, and people pretend here that let them take Hustler Fund. It's a painkiller, Linda. This is a painkiller economy. We cannot treat a country with neutralizers. The real issue is go to the heart of the matter. I'm a strategist. We're about fishbone analysis, root cause analysis. Why is Kenya poor? Let's go there. Let's not waste our time on Hustler Fund. Because you know, so presidency is a 5-year term. They'll go, wow, like this, and after that 5 years over, then say, now, let me forgive you all the Hustler Fund. I'm telling you, Linda, I can predict.
Okay.
In 20, just wait. Let me finish.
Yes.
In 2026,
that will be the...
Make my prediction, isn't it? Yeah. I'm an economics predictor. President Ruto will tell people, I will forgive you Hustler Fund, isn't it? Then you give me the vote. He will get the vote, isn't it? Okay. I'm telling you, predict. Now, let me finish this very much on record. I'm a consultant on the issue of the project to Mai Mahiu, isn't it? I'm the one who did the strategic plan for Kenya. We did the analysis with the road network there. There was no issues he's talking about. The appraisal of those things he's talking about as disadvantages, we did and found the disadvantages were less than the advantages. Why we talk about? Why do you construct Thika Road? If you ask why, the thing was to reduce the travel time. Because efficiency on road network is that, how long does it take you to move from here to Thika?
Yeah.
It used to take 2.5 hours. Now you can do below 1 hour. You increase efficiency. Whether you are paying a toll of 200 shillings, seriously, and spending 2.5 hours, Linda, which one will you go for?
You'd rather pay.
You'd rather pay that one. So
business.
it helps even ease of doing business. So these things that Dr. Mbai is telling me, I'm a governance expert. I cannot lie to people. And Western Kenya, I cannot say sorry to you for telling you the truth. I don't need your vote. I'll never come to look for any seat in Western Kenya, but I'll tell you the truth. On my grave, they'll just write, Fred told you the truth.
Okay.
No.
We have to close this one.
But I think you are getting somewhere.
Yes.
I can see now,
Yes.
I think we started, but now we're getting somewhere. Very important. He's talking about, could we be having projects that can spur economic, empowerment? Good. And that is exactly what the president did. We talked about revitalization of fertilizer factories, about sugarcane and all that. So the point is, you invest in projects that can hire people, that can employ people to spur economic development. But let's be...
But when you come up with a project and a specialist telling you this is a danger, this perhaps will not give us or yield anything that is good, is it not in order to sit down and perhaps analyze?
And that is why this time, if you have noticed, there has been a lot of consultation. What is it that we must do? Divided into short term, divided into medium term and long term. I'll give you an example, which he has mentioned like 3 times. When you talk about fertilizer, it's a step. We are only doing subsidy now as a short term, right? There is a plan to actually establish a fertilizer plant for all the needs of Kenya in the next, in the next budget. So that now we move from importing fertilizer. It's just a short-term thing. But let me ask Fred, as an economist, what is best? Is it to subsidize, like, say, food, 8 billion, to try to bring the cost of hunger down, or go to production, so that at least The money that you are spending 8 billion, spend it on doing subsidy. Either way it is subsidy. The question is, at what point are we doing subsidy? Are we subsidizing consumption or production? Now, that's why I'm saying the immediate measure, look, give subsidy. The next time, do a factory that will employ over 10,000 young people. So because we are moving somewhere. He said he has predictions, he can see some stars in 2026 what will happen from an economist. Now, I'm a serious leadership and governance expert. Now, let me tell you today, from where I sit, the plans the president has, by that 2026, he'll have moved this country from where we are to a point where you can say, we started this journey in 2022, this is where we are. Now, we are doing prediction, we are going to be here, and mark this, wherever we'll be. Make sure you like somewhere. Make sure you make sure. No. Because, okay, I understand Wakiri. You know Wakiri, he has been, all over the place.
He's laughing like Sarah
He's very negative. Right?
I have never
now, however, let me finish with this. Sorry for background. Now, I sold tomatoes to be able to get 750 shillings to go to college, to take myself to college in Nakuru. Then I came to the University of Nairobi for all my studies. I paid for myself through working, through what I did in this city. I hustled for all those years. Now, that's what I'm saying. The success story therefore should be, we are telling other young people, come on, don't give up. Even if your parents are not able. That is a message today seated here. We should be passing to our young people that yes, I hustled. I sold tomatoes. If I got that 500 shillings, remember, is what I would have needed. So can we move from some place to the other? But a bottom line, which is important, let us encourage our people. And my encouraging for me, from where he sits, let him have a team of professionals, right? From, for example, the Western. Let them come with a blueprint for what are these projects good? What are these projects that they think, as economists, that can transform? Because he is arguing that, the leaders of Nyanza, they did this, they did along these to meet the president. Why don't they come with their blueprint, give it as a matter of record to the governors, then give a copy to the president to say, as professionals, because elected leaders, they did wrong, they don't have priorities, then they have a better priority. That's how we should do it.
No, let's allow
we must move forward. We must give some solution. We cannot come here to complain for 2 hours.
Linda, so that we can transit to the conclusion.
We must be positive. On one corridor, you are talking for positivity.
You see,
can we take 30 seconds?
Yes. Can you commit? No. Can you commit?
Make it 30 so that
you are going to have a blueprint for Western Kenya.
Better be 30
a better blueprint than the leaders who are there.
Just wait, we are taking the 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Linda, the meeting was organized by the president. Everything was paid for by the state, isn't it? Now you want me to go and convene such a meeting with my own money.
That is already
what I'm doing. I have no budget for this. No, the state has a budget. And someone can cheat you, convene us. Do I have the money?
Linda.
And the president said, only elected leaders.
He has a
Why did he convene a meeting for us?
Linda,
let him finance a meeting with civil society. We will come. Now some tells you, go and fund your own campaign. Can I arrange such a meeting?
Okay. When I listen to Dr. Mbae's submissions and look at what is happening in the country and what his boss believes in.
You laugh sarcastically.
I really have
as if not to have faith.
Because one thing, William Ruto is not one guy who is known to really speak the truth and maintain the course of truth. He has kept on changing his positions.
Let's not allow.
Let me finish. You will have the time to rebut. You see, there were promises that were made.
Civil words.
They were supposed to be implemented within 100 days. That position changed.
We got 80%.
They changed. Absolutely changed. So he has not been able to maintain the course of truth. So when you tell me that by 2026 the economy will have changed, when we are still, the economy is in debt. Remember, Linda, we were told that subsidy was a bad idea. It was toxic for this country. It was obnoxious. But you see now, Dr. is saying, are we financing production or consumption? When we subsidize fuel and diesel and fuel industry, this fuel industry is not just in consumption perspective, it's also aiding production. For example, that farmer in Moya who farms tomatoes and French beans, he needs to access that liter of diesel at a subsidized rate so that then he can go and pump water and irrigate his crops. When you tell me that now subsidizing fertilizer is different from subsidizing fuel, what are you telling us? You are just lying to us. It's only those guys who do not understand who will be convinced by Dr. Mbae. Look at it this way, Linda, as I sum up. You subsidize fertilizer. For that farmer in Moya who is now farming paddy rice. Then you say we are going to import 60,000 metric tons of rice from China, from Taiwan, from all over the world. What have you done? What will be the impact of that subsidized fertilizer to that farmer? Will it have an impact? Zero impact. Why? Because you have given him free fertilizer or subsidized fertilizer, and then you have flooded the market with Chinese rice. So we are doing zero sum. Then how will that hustler from where grow?
Benefit.
And then you see here, they are importing this rice when we in Mwea, we are at the verge of harvesting, a bumper harvest. Look at it this way, Linda. We have now just opened at the Dhiba Dam, a big metallic voluminous dam that's supposed to irrigate Mwea, right? That dam is supposed to help us open up like 24,000 hectares for paddy rice, right? The water is there. Then while we are still in the process of opening those paddies, you flood the market with Chinese rice.
And that's a big problem.
What are you telling us? What are you telling us? Is that a person who thinks about the hustler?
Part of
That's a person who thinks about how much am I going to make from this importation of the rice.
Information is important. If just some information, it's good he has brought a specific because we have to give examples. Let me update him what is happening. That's not purely true.
Purely true. Why? But we have this. We have had this problem.
Yes, I'll give you this example, and I think that's why we need a lot of government communication and information. Now, when you subsidize, just a very quick point, the money to subsidize fuel, electricity, and that unga is borrowed money. If we are digging in a hole, I want to be very clear.
Where are we getting a fertilizer?
No. Let's just hold on. Why? That's what Kenya should understand. You cannot be in a hole. And then you are borrowing to subsidize. So you better tell people.
Is he buying fertilizer with his own money?
Let me make. Let me finish.
Yes. As you answer that.
So the question should be therefore. We are here for the long haul, right? We don't want to lie to ourselves. What do we do? Stop digging, right?
And
stop digging.
Subsidy for fertilizer.
Look,
it's borrowed money as much.
The 8 billion
money.
The 8 billion that was supposed to subsidize unga that time is what the government is saying. Fine, we are not killing subsidy. It's only that we are subsidizing production instead of consumption. Now, that point needs to be very clear.
How do you distinguish?
But no. But let me make this point. Let's go to Mwea. Okay, a very good example just given.
And make it brief.
Now, listen. What Mwea is doing, they are producing rice. What Wakiri doesn't know, in another week or two, the CS for Trade with the Kenya National Trading Corporation is supposed to go, actually is in the diary, to go and buy that rice. Kenya National Trading Corporation to buy the rice from where? And the farmers are being told, listen, will we buy your rice to go and export where we can export? Don't worry about any rice that comes. You don't worry if the rice comes. But no.
You buy to export yet.
You can buy and then you import. Kenya National Trading. Look at Kenya National Trading Center. The point is this. The point is this. The government is going to buy, and I'm going to invite Wakiri today. The government
buy to export.
Buy to export.
Listen, for whatever. Let me
when
put
we have a problem,
let me put it.
We cannot say.
Linda, let me put it.
They brought in the country.
They have a WhatsApp group. They are telling us to changia those guys who are hungry.
Can I put it this way? I just said the government is buying the rice from where? Hold on a minute. No.
And you said so.
No, it can either be import. You know, when KNTC buys, okay, they are the ones who are importing fertilizer, for example. Okay, it's going to be flagged off on Thursday by the president in Kitale. The subsidized fertilizer, right? Yeah. So Kenya National Trading Center is the one that's doing the corporation lather. So they are buying the rice from where? So that just to disabuse what he is saying about, you are giving them and then you are importing. And Wakiri, because you are a good resident, village from Kirinyaga, I will, and don't refuse to come, because next time you come here, I'm going to you. No, I will invite you honestly to come and see the connection. And he will listen to the speeches, he will listen to the CS, articulate.
No, give me a paper. I'm much more informed.
I will do this. I will invite him so that he can
give me a paper.
So that we can have practical things in this country, right?
Give me the policy I read. I don't want to be invited for a public
now,
give me the policy.
Now listen. So that in short, the government is buying. So what are we saying? Look at the maize. We said, fine, you have maize, bring it on. Before we come to bridge. So the idea here we are saying is this, there is the correlation between the subsidy we are giving, the production, and the cost of living naturally in a way that is sustainable. That's the point. That's the point.
Okay,
Linda, please. You know what's happening here is that when you have the truth to say, you don't have to talk too long. So
no.
Just say clearly what are you saying. Let me maybe you understand. You can say more with less if you are straightforward. Okay. That's my dictum. Let me tell you what the schizophrenia in this government is amazing, and let me just tell you one of them. We have lots of pending bills where people are giving their services and goods to the government and they're not being paid, then you're giving them hustler fund to do business. It does not work because you need income to consume the business. So if you're not paying, it does not work. Secondly, the president says, and he has repeated, when you're in deep hole, stop digging, isn't it? You found Kenyans in Fuliza, 5 SIM cards. You give them
1 million a
5
day.
SIM card. That's schizophrenia because like one part of the brain is seeing this, the other part of the brain is seeing that, and there's no congruence between these two parts of the brain. Sorry. Now that is for the Kenyans who are these spending bills. No, the last one, in the US, when you go to you go to Parliament, you go to Senate, people discuss more about spending bills, spending, money spent. In Kenya, we are overwhelmed with pending bills, the S factor. There's the difference between the US and us is S. Pending bills is the big debate in Kenya. In the county assemblies, National Assembly, to everywhere, even on live television, isn't it? In the US, they talk about spending bills, money which was spent. An economy where the government does not want to spend on its people, tech services and goods from the people don't want to pay. How many doctors go on strike? How many teachers go on strike? How many people in the counties have not been paid? That is spending. In other places, they talk about who was spent money on and what did we get as an outcome. That should be the discussion. So with the schizophrenia that we are seeing here, for me is amazing. And
but you also understand the importance of access to credit.
Yes.
You as a...
No, but I'm saying, if you give me credit, then I offer my services to you, and you don't pay me, yet you want me to pay you the credit. It does not work.
Okay, fair enough.
So economy has to be balanced. You can never say this leg of the stool should be held hanging and this one should be standing. They both must stand. But just like a traditional stool, the Maasai stool, 3-legged stool, that all the legs must be fixed and must be standing. If the opportunities in the business environment for hustler funding, so for example, as a head of strategy, attractive market opportunities for the hustler fund, where are they? Tell us, isn't it? Where are the resources you are giving us hustler fund, isn't it? How shall we execute? We should be able to supply our goods and services to government, to county government, to national government. The government needs to release this money that is going here. All politicians have been paid. Let me tell you, all governors were paid day one after signing, after being in the They were paid.
Okay.
No one else is being paid on time. Now, some people are appointing governors now, like Mombasa has just done the appointment now.
I spoke to some of them who said they had not been paid just yet.
What I'm trying to tell you, that's not true. Who has access to the account? Unless money was not disbursed. Do you know what's happening? Immediately they took over office, they could take loans from the bank. I'm telling you, I work for the bank, isn't it? You could go and take a loan up to 3 months, isn't it? And pay yourself, allocate all funds, whatever it is interesting to you, then tell people, I'm still investigating how my predecessor was working before I pay people.
All right, hold it right there. Wakili, we're coming to you, and we want to talk about the Constitution. Let's close this one for a moment, you know. And Mutai Ngunyi says, maybe, just maybe, Ruto is the man who will unify the country. His reception in Nyanza, enemy territory, is telling. And maybe I am wrong, but from what I am seeing, I do not choose to be right, at least for now. A couple of people also looking at that aspect of, what is purported to be, a clear face of unity as a form to tell the people that this is the constitutional moment, that for the very first time, opposition and government are in agreement that there's need to change or to amend the constitution. How is what, of course, we'd want to go for a break and come back address. But briefly, on your view of this.
There has been, even when we were in Uhuru Park on the 4th of August, 2010, we knew that this constitution is not fully baked. Even when the President President Kibaki lifted that constitution, we knew that we have 20% of this document to work with. What we have not agreed is on how. But the most important thing that we must understand that the 20% is the one that will break or make this nation. Why? Because it relates to the matters that affects us, matters governance. We are not able to agree on which form of government do we need to form. What system of accountability and transparency and oversight systems do we need to create? That is where we are. And when the proposal for the BBI came up, the proposal for the BBI was a furtherance of trying to achieve the 20%. And you can see, William has not been able to stay far away from the BBI. Because the proposals contained in the BBI, despite the fact that he's now refusing and categorically saying that this is not a BBI thing, it is the proposals contained therein are the same proposals that are now appearing in his memorandums. But we must be able to know that for us to be able to move on, we must be able to unify this country, like I've kept on saying in Article 34. It is his responsibility to unify this country, but it's not his responsibility to kill the alternative voice. I am only hoping that his goodies that is now dishing left, right, and center, they are not meant to kill the alternative voice, so that when he says that we are now going to amend the constitution and the obnoxious aspect of the term, lifting of the term limit is put there, nobody will speak.
Okay.
So we are still watching. Them that are not in Nyanza, them that are not in government, the civil society, and of course with the collaboration of people like us, we are watching how this nation is unfolding and the events are unfolding. And you can see what Mutai is saying, and I agree with him to some extent. There is good reason for unification, and it is not the wish of the president. It is his mandate. Yeah. It is his mandate under the constitution to unify this country. President Kenyatta tried. And he was completely frustrated by the same president who is now purporting to say that now I am the unifier. Well, you know, they keep on saying, when you see a Greek bearing gift, you must be very wary. It might be a Trojan horse.
We take a short break and then we come back on that very note. Okay.
The home of untold stories. Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Are you looking for a college that will shape your future career? At Candy College of Beauty and Applied Sciences, we offer advanced courses with personalized attention to our students. Come and get your diploma or certificate in cosmetology, hairdressing and beauty therapy, diploma in community development and social work, or certification in catering and accommodation operation. We also offer diploma in nutrition and dietetics and many more. All of our graduates have secured employment in the job market, while others have gone into entrepreneurship. What are you waiting for? Join us today. For more information on how you can enroll, visit us at the London Beauty Building, 5th floor, Taveta Road, Nairobi, or call us on 0726 031 109 or 0784 515 606. Facebook, Candy College of Beauty and Applied Sciences, or on Instagram, Candy College of Sciences. Our January intake is ongoing. Candy College of Beauty and Applied Sciences is the cutting edge college.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Since 2009, All Saints has strived to nurture confident, responsible, and ambitious young men into future leaders. Located on 20 acres in a serene and conducive environment, some 4 kilometers from Embu Town Center, it's a modest, cost-friendly education center. We are proud of our strong heritage of opening minds, unlocking talents, and building leaders. We prepare young men for a life dedicated to leadership, achievement, and service to the world. All Saints Senior Boys Academy. We make the difference.
TV 47. The home
of untold stories.
All right, gentlemen, we're back. We're back, and this is the last laps of this conversation, the constitutional amendment process and the possibilities of this. They say that by the time you feel, this mood of these leaders appearing as though they are speaking in the same voice or language, then you need to know there must be something that interests them, on equal grounds. And therefore, one, just looking at the events that played out in Nyanza is left with no choice but to assume that it could be the question of the constitution that is here. And I have at least tried to listen to most of the leaders, and you realize that everybody and anybody is talking about the constitution. What you were saying is finally here. Whether it will be by a popular initiative or parliamentary initiative is what we are waiting to see. But like what Wakili says then, rightfully, that when you see them coming together, then for a moment you pause to ask yourself, is it genuine? Is the alternative voice then being swallowed into accepting some of the things that, of course, the government of the day then would want at the expense of who? What do you make of it?
So, Linda, let me tell you, this is the moment when we need alternative leadership. Because how comes the people who said that Ruto cannot be trusted with the constitution, cannot be trusted with the government, now hugging, if you like, kissing, isn't it?
It was only a hugging.
For me, this is a remark where Kenya needs to come back and say, is this good for them or this is bad for them? My prediction is that politicians got the positions they wanted. They have divided the Kenyan cake, isn't it? And left Kenyans divided or at least sometimes confused. So I would urge the president to be honest with Raila Odinga that the people who has power to amend the constitution, because the preamble is very clear, the sovereignty belongs to the people. The people is the voice of God. Let us, civil society, using the platform we have created, which I have even listened to all the president wanted to do. I've listened to all the Raila Odinga's concerned. I've also listened to what the people really want. Yeah. And I've created what's called a balanced proposal. If you read them, they are there, 30 clauses that needs to be amended that will cure all these issues that are affecting every sector of the economy. Public participation has been done in 47 counties. We have representation from all counties, and this is the best way to go. Then the other thing that I will be able to say is that unity is key. But unity will start by having a constitution that will guide us and also having leaders who will obey that unity. Because I can tell you, when BBI was there, and Dr. Mbai suggested here, BBI was put in the custody of the politicians. So any member of the public suggesting anything, they'll maintain what they want. If it is in State House, taken together with Raila Odinga's secretariat, you as a member of the public, how do you get your suggestions in the document? It is impossible. But if the civil society has it, for us, do you know, if the president wants to meet me, he'll call me now, I'll go. I'll maintain my position, but I'll go. But
there's a provision for public participation. How can you confidently say
that? And I'm saying that if it is resting with the politicians,
it does not count.
You have less influence on what you can amend. You saw what happened in 2010. Yeah. We are being told, submit your proposal to the secretariat. Even during Parliament, when they were vetting ministers and they said, submit your reservations. Which ones were taken? So if he sits with civil society, people who are accessible like me, it's easy to do it. So I'm trying to request Kenyans, please wake up now. If you ever even dozed, please keep your eyes open. And I'm also praying that may God, in his own way, find a way that these people disagrees and let civil society unite them.
So is that our light way of telling us that the popular initiative is it?
It is the way to go, because the suggestions they are proposing cannot be done using the parliament process. Because if you introduce the leader of opposition, you are taking Kenyans to a parliamentary system, moving them from presidential system, which is the current system. Somehow or other, Ruto has discovered, and Raila has discovered, They wanted presidential system and it's not working. And they want to go to parliamentary. Let us find this system done by public participation. And I'm also suggesting, let us see what is the role of the civil society in public participation. What are the processes? What is the platform? What are the avenues? Rather than just saying something amorphous like, you can send your views. And most importantly, let us understand, why do you want to amend the constitution? Because if you start by saying, because you want positions, it doesn't work. And last but not least, Linda, for me, I can tell you, it's also about the money. I'm not privy to the exact details, but money was given to BBI Secretariat to go through the process of amending the constitution. That money cannot be less than 4 billion.
Okay.
They could be in amount of 8 billion shillings.
And cannot be accounted for.
And cannot be accounted for. And it is difficult for them to account for. But if this money is given to civil society through very clear platform where we do a budget and do it, it can be accounted for. And you know what's happening? It's more expensive to use the politician side than to use civil society side.
Is it?
Yes, it's cheaper. So I would recommend that for efficiency in terms of costs. Secondly, for efficiency in terms of engagement, civil society is the body that can be able to do amendment of the constitution, and there will be a lot of transparency because for us now, we don't have power like the parliamentarians have. We will be put to account to state who brought their proposals.
On face value, it would appear as though it will be cheaper to go the parliamentary initiative way, but of course that's on face value. And I'm not supposed to...
Unconstitutional, it is.
Okay.
Unconstitutional.
All right.
Okay, you see, we are here, the law is very clear. You can use various ways of amending the constitution if you want to.
Yes.
One is popular and the other is parliamentary. It's there in the constitution. So, really, we want to have some facts. Secondly, there's nobody who have said the civil society cannot play a big role. We saw that from 05 and 2010 constitution. It's just a matter of agreeing what is the roadmap, right? It is possible, it can be done. But number three, nobody have said that the government or the president and the opposition are in one thing or they are in bed, those terms, over this constitutional issue. No.
You know some of these things do not need to be told.
No, I'm just saying, because there are some statements which they differ. However, I don't know why there's a problem in this country when people work together towards some cause. Do you want to begin seeing Mandamano Mondays or anything about the constitution agitation? Let me ask again, and I'll ask again, please. Let people do their work, and other people who feel there's a problem come in.
Are you confirming the fears of Wakili here that the alternative voice then could be compromised?
Now, the alternative voice should rise louder to come and say we don't like what we are seeing.
And the alternative voice does not have to differ.
No, the alternative voice here, for example, let's make it very clear what we are seeing. They may say these are politicians, right? The alternative voice here is the media, civil society, the Law Society of Kenya, the church.
Kenya.
No. If they want to, opposition have their way. You see, the problem with what you call opposition, they are also leaders. Like now, that's why you see they're talking about hugging. Because what do you do if you are a governor where the president is coming? You are being accused of hugging the president for coming. But on the other time, if you don't, you'll be accused of not working with or partnering with the national government to get development. So please, let us not beat the elected leaders too much. Let us not beat them so much. Let us be fair. I'm not saying the structure of government, because for me, I'm so keen on how is it supposed to be structured. I'm looking at these people who are supposed to say something is not going on. But I want to assure Wakiri, and he said it, and I want to say this today without fear of contradiction. These fears people have that the president, they want to to dole out these things to silence the opposition. They want to continue controlling everybody else, putting the opposition to their side so they can pass an amendment to change the term limit. Kindly trash those thoughts. I want to say today, I want to confirm the president has a very clear mind where he wants to take this country. He doesn't want to go back and surpass, there was President Kibaki, there was Uhuru, to just come begin changing. Where do they get these thoughts? The president is a man on a mission. He wants to show that things can be done differently. Yeah. And yes, what Mutahi Ngunyi said, because you have alluded to it. Yes. Mutahi Ngunyi is a guy. I mean, he's we are in the same profession who have done political science. He has been serving the former government as a consultant, and here he is. Yes, he's giving his views. And I want to say, yes, Mutahi Ngunyi, the president is keen on uniting this country, not for looking for people to beg or kneel down before him, to do what is right. He's a man on a mission. He has a vision, he has a passion, he has the whither too, and he knows how to do these things. He wants to bring everybody together, not necessarily for the purpose of the next election, but for legacy purposes, to show that this can be done differently. But I want to assure you, he has no idea of sneaking anything to change, to extend term limit. That is a thought that should not be entertained. Okay. However, we are saying, has the time come to review the constitution? Yes. How do you do it? The president is saying, try first what can be done. If not so, of course, we come and say, what is it that must be done? But I want also to suggest, and it has been suggested here, the idea also, Kenyans have very fertile imagination. Oh no, the Raila doesn't want the official position. He wants to push. So there is a created a position of prime minister he can get. There will be no such a thing. The opposition will have to do their role of opposition when they are outside. That is why we are creating very clear path of an official opposition with a shadow cabinet funded by the taxpayer. So this idea that, because of this handshake, they are going to meet, there's no problem.
It wasn't about Raila, the president. And yes.
That's what I'm saying. I want to clear that. Yes. I want to clear that. And I also say, maybe as I add, look here, if the president of this republic wishes to go to Nyanza, there is no problem with him. Just like he did in Kitui. Before he went to Kitui, he called Kalonzo Musyoka. There is nothing wrong if you want to be a statesman by calling Raila to say, as a matter of courtesy, I'm going there. Then Raila calls the leaders you remember, in Nairobi, they agree on the priorities and they say, yes, receive the president. That is mature. I want to applaud the leaders.
That's maturity.
That's how you should go.
That's maturity. But one thing we must disabuse people is to think that William is doing them a favor.
No favor.
It is his responsibility to unify this country. It is his responsibility to develop this country. It's not a favor that he's doing the people of Nyanza or to any part of this country that he visits. Okay. But I have always told you that whenever I see William speak, I listen to what he's not saying. Okay. And so it is even for his...
call him President William.
For Mr. Ruto. Yeah. And it is also even for Mr. Gachagua. When he speaks, when Mr. Gachagua speaks, I listen to that which he is not saying. We are saying we want to amend the constitution. Mr. William comes up with a proposal dated the 9th of December, a memorandum, and he sends that memorandum to Parliament. And in that memorandum contains 3 thematic areas. The issues about the leader of opposition, the area about the 1/3 gender rule, and the other area was about the 2/3 gender rule. And then remember, he makes very serious proposals. For example, when he makes a proposal to deal with the 2/3 gender rule, and that gender rule affects Parliament, he tells people, Parliament do this. Now, he has also come up with another proposal to have the members of the cabinet go answer questions directly in Parliament. And then he tells Parliament, look for a way of making sure that cabinet goes to Parliament. And then in the wisdom of Parliament, or lack of it, and most likely lack of that wisdom, they think of amending the standing rules, the standing orders. And then when you amend the standing orders to allow the members of cabinet to go into Parliament, you are essentially amending the constitution. Because you have now mixed the roles of these two organs, not remembering that we have a clear separation of powers in this country and that we have a pure presidential system that is dictated by this constitution. Then he goes ahead and says, when you amend the provisions to cater for the leader of opposition, you put it under Part 4. He says in his memorandum, I therefore propose, and I'm reading it, that Parliament consider an amendment to Part 9, to Chapter 9, Part 4 of the Constitution to establish the office of the leader of opposition. May I say that Chapter 9 exclusively deals with the executive aspect of government. You are now saying that the office of opposition be created under the chapter that deals with the issues of executive. Yet, the office of the opposition is supposed to enhance accountability, transparency, and oversight over the executive. So you detach it from the chapter dealing with the chapter 7 dealing with issues of legislation and legislature, and you put it under the office of the president. Then he further says, interestingly, that I am sensitive to the current state of our nation, which is settling down after a long session of vigorous political mobilization. For this reason, it is important that we endeavor to pursue only those pathways to institutional changes by means which do not entail the resumption of disruptive and potentially divisive mobilization for a referendum or a campaign. So he tells you, when you are amending this constitution, avoid the root of the constitution.
So how possible is that? I want us to understand.
And I'm coming to that now.
That is why I told you,
yes.
Walk us through 255,
yes.
256.
That's where I'm now coming. That's now I'm coming to.
Yeah.
Mr. Ruto has told Parliament, make sure that you amend this constitution in exclusion of the people. Okay. When you look at Article 1, it tells you that power belongs to the people and they shall exercise their sovereignty in accordance with this constitution in 2 avenues. Direct participation or through their democratically elected representatives. But when you then go to Article 10, it tells you that when you are dealing with this country under the principles of the principles and the value of governance, it tells you you must have democratic processes taking effect, you must have the rule of the law, and you must have people's participation. Then when you want to amend the chapter dealing with, to introduce the office of opposition leader, you are essentially modifying the way we know Parliament today. You are saying that now the Parliament will become
majority minority.
Or will co-opt a Westminster model of Parliament where we have the front benchers and the back benchers. That is essentially what you are being told. Then when you introduce that Westminster model, you are introducing the parliamentary system. Then you go to Article 255. Article 255 has protected various provisions of this constitution which cannot be amended without a referendum.
Yes.
One of those provisions is Article 1, which deals with the sovereignty of the people. When you want to amend the sovereignty of the people, you go to the referendum. Is the sovereignty of the people being affected this time around by this amendment? Yes. How? The leader of opposition is coming to Parliament. He has been elected by the people. The people are exercising their powers under Chapter 1. Does that affect Chapter 1? It does affect Chapter 1. Do we need a referendum? Yes. Then further, Article 255 says, when you want to amend the functions of Parliament, or the way Parliament appears today, you must go to the people and ask them through a referendum. When you want to introduce the members of cabinet or ministers, call them ministers for ease of understanding, to go to Parliament, you are affecting the sovereignty of the people and the functions of Parliament. Do you need a referendum? Yes, you need a referendum.
So going to the Parliament to say that perhaps they should initiate this parliamentary system does not, in a way,
it does not exempt. It does not exempt a referendum. Where the provisions being amended are protected. For example, the chapter on the sovereignty of the people.
Can I read them through?
Yes.
Or can I read them for us?
Yes.
The supremacy of the Constitution,
yes.
The territory of Kenya,
yes.
The sovereignty of the people,
Article 1.
The national values and principles of governance referred
yes.
to Article 10,
yes.
2, and of course the Bill of Rights,
yes.
The term of office of the President,
yes.
The independence of the judiciary and the commission and independent offices to which Chapter 15 applies,
yes.
The functions of Parliament, objects, principles and structure of devolved government,
yes.
or the provisions of this chapter, which of course are equally also clear.
And that is why we are simply saying those amendments cannot be done in exclusion of the people. That's why I said, I always listen to what he is not speaking. How does it become disruptive to the people when we involve them in a process that the Constitution dictates that they must be involved.
Yeah, so Linda,
Professor.
Thank you very much. In addition to what Wakila said, first of all, I'll tell him just to refer to the president as the president, because of course, he is the president. I did not like it, but the Supreme Court declared he's our president. I traveled out of the country on the name written on my passport, the president. Just respect him. Tomorrow, you might go through what happened to one lawyer, I don't want to mention names here. He had said, if so-and-so become president, he will cease to be a Kenyan. Then he appeared in an interview to take a position. He was asked the same question and it could not work. So, to be honest, let's just be fine. Wakili, you're my friend, but let's just get that right as well. At the same time, I will agree with you, the basic structure, what we're discussing about the basic structure doctrine of the Constitution. So, in addition to what we said, the Supreme Court also ruled in the same way. And Supreme Court said the following: anytime this court will call upon to adjudicate in the same matter. If nothing has changed, we rule the same way. So why should the president walk that path that Raila and Ruto failed? Raila and Uhuru failed.
Yeah.
Secondly, and this is the most important thing, even if he says, I don't want to say the president is a liar, but let's talk about consistency. The president, when Supreme Court ruled against the BBI, he gave a statement from Karen, and the statement was saying, he thanked God for having reigned on Supreme Court to see the reason that these people wanted to mutilate the constitution using BBI, and the process was flawed, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And referred to the basic structure that the Supreme Court used to rule against BBI. Does it mean that when you are president, when this rule is given, is good for you, and when you are not president, the ruling is okay? Are you a Kenyan? Do you cease to be a Kenyan when you become president? So I want to urge the president, let us just know that if this amendment you want to make favors you now as head of state, if you are sure that you're going to rule for 10 years, they'll hurt you when you leave office. Because tomorrow you'll be on the other side of the fence. And the same ruling will affect you. Sometimes when I see policemen, when I was doing demonstration in town, a policeman wants to push me, I told them, excuse me, sir, you are an officer. We are fighting for rights for the country. We are fighting for all the people to receive their money. Tomorrow when you retire from that uniform, you won't be wearing uniform, you won't carry a gun. You will be facing the same situation. Will you somebody when you don't have uniform? So when you remove that uniform from you, for example, Linda, when you leave TV 47, when you go to that street, there are some things that affect you as a person. Because there is no economy for TV 47, there is no economy for Strathmore, there is no economy from where Dr. Mbaye works and Wakili. We just need to develop what's called a constitution which is good for you, for your children, and generations to come. And that's why we talk about the issue of sustainable development. Use your resources today to grow without compromising anybody's other things. And that's why America got that by saying they want to equalize opportunities, not outcomes. Because once opportunities are equal to everybody, so then the issue of self-interest comes in. You use the same opportunities and achieve. If somebody is richer than you, there's no problem. The only thing is that there's equal opportunities for everybody. And that's why the basic structure is important. What you have read there, those are the things I read. And that's why I said, why are we amending the Constitution? And I gave you a very important thing. Why, as Operation Indogatuzi, we are amending the Constitution? Yeah. The main thing here is that we have a very good legal framework for this country in the Constitution, agreed. But very, very poor governance mechanism. Meaning that, how often have you had anybody like Anti-Corruption Commission telling you, we know money has been stolen, and money cannot be stolen by let's say, a ghost, isn't it? It's been stolen by a human being, isn't it? And that we cannot account for it. We cannot take someone to court. Do you know why? Because there's no governance mechanism on how to take that person to court. How many elected leaders do we have who don't have a degree, yet the Constitution requires them to have a degree, and they manage to maneuver their way inside? Because the legal framework intends that you need a degree for this position, yet there's no governance mechanism on how to ensure that that happens. So we are looking at how can we strengthen the governance mechanism on how to make this happen. And I like what Akili said. The 20% which we need to amend is where the most important turnaround for the country actually resides, because the politicians who are in charge of this constitution did this by design. That the constitution tells you the good intentions legally, but there's no mechanism in governance to ensure that happens. So by amending that part is when we shall ensure now there's good intentions. At the same time, it can be executed in a governance framework to get what we are looking for. Because in this constitution, somebody has stole 7.7 billion shillings and walk away with it. And the governance mechanism could not make us put them to account, then they receive that money back. And last but not least, he talks about the issue that the media and civil society can also talk, isn't it? I read for him a statement from Gachagua on 15th of January saying, the media have no right to tell them what to do. they know what to do. So they are telling the media, medias are not Kenyans.
Okay, interesting.
So I'm telling you, these are facts on record.
Okay.
And let us just be honest Kenyans. No one is against anybody. We are here to tell the president we want you to succeed, but follow the right path to success.
And yes, Daktari, and we have to take it very fast because we have to close. Also, when we speak of the president requesting that, and acknowledging the fact that, well, it could be expensive for us to go for a referendum, looking at the fact that he's keen on, boosting the economy, looking at the fact that we have the IEBC not in the best of shape if we are to go for a referendum, at least for now, and how quick, the question of urgency as well in terms of incorporating some of these clauses that he wishes for. Just what are these options of saying that it's fine, we decide that we're going to have amendments, but without having to go to the people?
Now, that's an important question, and I want to suggest this. What the president said is this. Look, and for clarity and avoidance of doubt, that is not a presidential initiative.
Yes.
Let's clear this.
That is why he goes to Parliament.
We need to make it very clear.
Yes.
It's the way you do a petition to Parliament. To say, this is what I think should be done. Let's be very clear that this is not is not similar to what the former president did.
How different? How
Thank
different?
You.
Because
what the former did, he initiated, called a team called BBI. He gazetted under his seal, under the then head of public service, right? And he gazetted the team and he said, this is what we want to do. And he put everything in the Kenya Gazette. So that was his initiative. It's good to make that clarification so that it's very clear. I can see even senior economists and governance experts and lawyers, they struggle a lot. They can come and ask me because I've done all these things. The beauty, what I've done, besides being in governance, I have a very good understanding of political landscape. So I can understand both ways, professionally and also politically, right? So it's not. He says, can you consider? Look at it. Even the words he has read, which is true. He has said, my thinking, if we can avoid. Now, that was an appeal. I don't know why people have this fear for the president. He just said, kindly consider. He leaves everything to the Parliament. These are people who are elected to think on behalf of the people. Now, you mentioned Article 255. You read something. I don't want to go through it, but if you look, 255 alludes to Article 1, sovereignty of the people.
Yeah.
I just want to read 2. The people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. That's where we are. The moment you elected the governor or the MP, you give up some of your powers to decide, and you trust that gentleman.
But then again, 257 should be 257 says that even as they help us decide, it is important that it goes back to the people.
And that's where we are. And that's where we are saying, the president was saying, and the whole object of the whole issue, the law should work for us. We should not be a slave of the law. The law was meant to serve us. Now, where am I coming in? If we feel what is the best for this country, and that is why people have a problem, when the president is trying to reach out to everybody to make consensus. Because if there's consensus on these issues, and it's good for the people, and the elected leaders, the people through the elected leaders have seen it is good for the people. The question is, why should we do something for 5 years, make it so much and mess up the whole economy? If it is good, I just said, please mark my words. That's why we have oversight bodies, right? Around me here, There's an oversight body here, and please, LSK, next time, you must go to court. First of all,
I am not representing
No. They say that way. But all of them after here, they have one WhatsApp group. They say go to court over this. Please, don't rush to go to court so that we can move forward.
No.
Give us some space,
No.
And by the way, and sometimes, people go to court because they don't have sufficient information. My background is communication. You can always come to me. I'll give you a lot of public information about what you need to do. So what I'm saying is this, and please, the language was this. If the president reaches out to what you would call official opposition leaders in Parliament to tell them, this is my view as president. That's why you saw the president even surprised even the opponents, and they said, how can the president himself propose an official opposition? But I'm saying, I'm doing this not for you or for anybody, for the prosperity of this nation. So there's no problem. If they agree, if it is for the good of this nation.
They have an option of agreeing or not.
These Krauses, they are in before Parliament. These people are from Nyanza, they are from Coast, they are from somewhere, the elected leaders, right?
And
they have been asked to come and engage on them. If they engage positively, what is the problem with that? What is the problem with that?
At what point can we say that this one does not have to go to the people? We need to
if anything that they are proposing to amend is not protected under Article 255, we don't need the people. We can deal with it. But now the proposed proposals, and I can tell you categorically that these amendments have been initiated by the president. The word initiating is semantic.
It's language.
I may have a different legal interpretation.
Yes. Yeah.
You may have a different interpretation from a communication perspective. Eh? Remember, if you want to move parliament through petitions, the law has created the procedures for petitions. This is not a petition to parliament.
Okay.
It is a proposal to amend the constitution.
We
know how
it's a letter.
It's not a letter.
By
it is a proposal. He's telling them, consider these amendments. You see, to the extent that these amendments affect Article 1, you cannot deal with these amendments in exclusion of the people. And as I
have to close.
1 minute.
Article 1.
Talks about
less than a minute.
1 minute, Daktari.
Give me a chance.
Article 1
Yeah.
has 2 levels of participation.
Yes.
Directly
or indirectly.
Directly. Why? Because direct participation is the residual power that was that remained.
Wakili, could we take a short break and then come back 5 minutes? Allow us to do that because it's a commercial break.
Okay.
And I need to go.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Starting your academic journey here at the foot of Mount Kenya. A place where you can call home. A place where we celebrate our diversity and uniqueness. A place where you can be at your best, at work and at play. That place is Embu College. There's no better place to make the difference than Embu College. Karibu Embu College, where a holistic education matters.
On the next episode of The Realtor.
The Realtor is right here with good news, and this time we are taking you for a virtual property tour. Why are we doing this? It's because I know we have done much while here, maybe seated, maybe in confinement. But this time round, we are taking you for this tour just to make you understand what happens when you're on ground. It will be happening on this Tuesday at 8:30 p.m.
Want to know the meaning of a soft life? It's living with ease and accessing quality lifestyle while taking a swim. It's taking care of your body in a 5-star gym while you achieve your fitness goals. It's living in a serene and quiet neighborhood. It's about staying in a place with spacious driveways and ample parking. It's about living in a safe and secure environment. It's about convenient shopping. Soft life is living comfortable in affordable and yet an elegant space. It's everything stylish. Here's to introducing Great Rift Apartments, located at the heart of Nakuru City in Kisulisuli, just a few minutes from the Central Business District. Great Rift Apartments, the hub of soft living.
Hi kids, welcome to Kids on the Block, a place where our agenda is fun.
Today I'm going to show you how to prepare banana bread.
And lots of fun.
We are going to have an interesting story today that's called The Shoemaker and the Elf. The giraffe calf can stand up and walk after about an hour of being given birth to.
Join me, Tamara and
Anna Kioko, Linet Ngare, Sophia.
Saturdays at 9 a.m.
TV 47, the home of untold stories.
And in less than 5 minutes, gentlemen, we have to close this. So, Wakili, I'll ask that you cut to the chase so that we also get the parting shots of this. Yes.
As I sum up, I can give my fellow panelists an opportunity to submit. Is that the proposals being made or the initiative being done by the president, I was told to ask him to call him the president.
Yes.
They are not reflecting the views of Mount Kenya people. The views of Mount Kenya people.
It had to boil down to that as a
They are so concrete. They are so solid that in Mount Kenya region, if you are not speaking about representation, because democracy is about representation. And even if you look at Article 1, which is alluding to, it speaks about democratically elected leaders. So it tells you that representation is key and central in our constitution. In Mount Kenya region, we are completely underrepresented if you are to juxtapose our representation to the current population quota aspects. Number 2, we are not contented with the manner in which resources trickle down. We are told that the resources from government will now be bottom up. I do not know how they will trickle down to Mount Kenya region, because that is what ails us. So what are we saying? We want to see a proposal that captures the 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling policy. Not just for Mount Kenya region, not just for Mount Kenya region, but for all the regions. It's only that we, the Mount Kenya regions, are the ones who are pushing and propagating this policy. Otherwise, it is going to benefit the entire country.
Interesting.
So any amendment that is in absence and minus those 2 policies, it's not meant for Mount Kenya region.
Interesting.
For me, I'll take a balanced view between Dr. Mbai, who believes that if it is resources that people want, let us equalize that resources so that people have equal access to resources. Yeah. Not necessarily having more MPs will lead to better governance, because you realize that county government were built, 88% are recurrent expenses, 12% development. So if you create even another constituency or county, we are having a risk of having every county for every tribe, and there we are making Kenya more now. Every governor represents a kingpin of a certain tribe, and also every constituency also is the same. It's going all to the world. So I'm more for, what do we want to achieve? We want Kenya to develop. What is the best way to do it? Right. Do we equalize resource opportunities to them or not? Now, let me go to these things. If you go to places like Coast Region, their issue is land issue. Like Taita Taveta believes that 60% of their land is National Park, East and West Savo. It gives them 60 billion shillings of national government. They receive nothing from it. So I'm trying to say, let us have, that's why we need the operational ugatuzi that has roots into different counties to actually help as a platform for the amendment, because this will work. And last but not least, let us be honest that politicians will be about money. Remember, BBI had very crazy proposals where MCAs are supposed to give them cars. They are looking for carrots to dangle around to these elected leaders so that they can pass this. That's why all counties, nearly all counties, passed the BBI. Yeah. How comes then it was not right even constitutionally in code? Does it mean that all counties have no one with the legal mind to know what is wrong? So if it is people-driven initiative, it will have people's interests at heart. Wow. If it's politically government-driven initiative, it will have the interest of the government at hand. And you know, the one who pays the piper pays the tune. Is the one who determines what?
The tune.
The tune.
All right.
My last words quickly is that when we elect leaders, we cannot purport tomorrow to begin saying we don't trust them. It's in the Constitution. Okay. It's either. So we have to be very careful. And for me, from a governance perspective, I must stand with elected leaders, because that's what the Constitution says. Now, we need to be very clear. What is it we are looking for? I will not say us as Mount Kenya. Yes, it's good to be born a Kikuyu, but it's better even to think nationally. Because that way, I've gone to school in like 5 counties, including finally in Western. That's why I graduated with my PhD from a Western university. So I want to talk what I can talk in Coast if I go to Nyanza and all that. To say this very quickly, we don't need more counties. That's a waste of time and energy. We don't need more MPs. We need money. Yeah? If it's counties, let there be a formula in Senate that gives money to counties. Kiambu and Nakuru is one of the largest counties. We don't need more counties. I want to say here from Nakuru, we don't need. We need money to reflect our population and our needs. In comparison to a smaller county, for example, in the constituencies, and that's now through the Senate revenue formula of sharing. Yeah. Now, on constituencies, we don't need more MPs. What I would suggest, Naivasha and Loiro and Juja, the biggest, we need the CDF, in that CDF Act being formed, let it say the money shall be shared not equally with the constituency with 20,000 people. Naivasha with over 300, right? It will be as per the population. That
Wakili,
way,
it reminds you there's a problem with CDF even as we speak.
that's what I'm saying. If it goes through, if that's the formula that's going to go, now, assuming it goes through, I mean, it's one of the proposals, to entrench in the constitution with GAF and all that, and the SOF. Yeah. If it goes through, let them be there. We don't need more trouble. We already have enough trouble. Like I said last time, if today we were to go back to 2010, we will not have the counties we have. But since we cannot eradicate them now, can we now talk about the population, how money will be increased?
Gentlemen, we're closing at
that is how we are going to move on in this country.
But can I mention something about the
30
CDF?
seconds, Wakili.
You know where they are creating the CDF is under Article 204. Article 204 is an article that creates the equalization funds. Which had a sunset clause for 20 years. If the counties are going to be uplifted. So the MP proposing to create a CDF fund under Article 204 by amending Article 204 and creating Article 204(1, because I've looked at that draft bill, God is simply telling you when the equalization funds clause shall close down, the sun shall set on that clause, even the CDF shall set. And then you cannot amend, you cannot introduce CDF to a member of parliament without affecting the functions of parliament under Article 255. And that's why we are saying, even to introduce CDF,
it will be.
Sisi lazima tuongee.
Okay.
Mkenya lazima aongee. And I don't know why these guys fear Kenyans.
Okay.
If they are so hustlers, let them.
They're just protecting the Kenyans, maybe. They're saying
why is he elected
all right,
president?
Whether you are usurping, I have not mentioned the president anywhere.
Constitutional
I have not